Nerdrotic.com.
Hey! Good afternoon, my lovelies and my uglies, but you're all beautiful on the inside. How are you doing today? My name is Gary Beekler, and I am live in North County, I almost said San Francisco, San Diego. That shows you how tired I am. And it's time for the Nerdrotic Nooner because it's always noon somewhere, and everybody is up for a nooner. So what do we have to talk about today? Well, we're going to review the finale for The Boys. I was going to do it separately on Nerdrotic Live, and then I ran out of time, so we're just going to combine them both. So the first portion of this episode will be a review of that final episode. A little bit of spoilers, probably a lot of bit of spoilers, to be honest with you. And then after that, we're going to go into the regular show, talk about Gal Gadot and the insanity on Twitter, which is, stupidity, actually. That's what it is. It's more funny than anything else because Twitter is collectively that stupid. And we're going to discuss some possible trouble with The Witcher. And, of course, we have to prepare for STD to flare up again for Season 3 and other things to talk about. We've got a lot of little news bits today we're going to go over, and whatever you want to talk about, really, to be honest with you. I've been working on videos all weekend trying to get caught up because, I hadn't put one out in like 6 days. I put one out this morning. Thanks for watching it, by the way. Got 2 more on the way. And, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. I got a Super Chat Square up that I got half recorded. And that should be up soon. Of course, Star Trek Discovery starts Thursday. And I don't know what time it starts. I don't know if they're going to drop it in the middle of the night or because they used to drop it at like 5:30 my time. So if they do that, I'll be live right afterwards, unless it's in the middle of the night. But I will be covering every single episode on this channel, just like the old days. It should be fun. Fun? Well, it'll be funny. It'll be funny. And I've got other little tidbits for you guys in the future. And, of course, we got Friday Night Tights this week with John F. Trent and the return of Az. Now, Az is going to apparently cover for Odin for the next 3 weeks because Odin's going to be a dad. So, honestly, I wasn't checking. I don't know if that's happened or not, but we congratulate Odin. Hope everything goes smoothly. And I guess this year isn't all bad for everyone. John F. Trent just had a little baby back in September. So, the baby boom is starting, probably a little bit early, but the 2020 baby boom next year will be something to see, won't it? Hopefully the new generation will be much smarter than the previous. Hopefully they will save us all, to be honest with you. I tell that to Nerdrotic Jr. all the time. It's like, no pressure. It's just up to your generation to save us. Thanks, buddy. Let's see who's here. Odin Jr. Yeah, that's what he'll be called. Odin Jr. Anime Slayer, Andrew Zacchaeus, Captain Scarlet, Lane Kramer, Surly Unicorn, Loquacious Primate. What's up, Loquacious? Jason Wiz, Aliverate, Alu, man, you're asking me to read, and I have had 4 hours sleep tonight. We'll just say hello, Imakara, and Fatty, and Kathleen McManus, and the good Tom King, as opposed to the bad Tom King. which is all the comic book industry has going for it. You noticed I haven't really talked about it much because there's nothing really to talk about except the new Warriors, starring Snowflake and Safe Space, premieres. Well, it is released in graphic novel form or trade paperback form in about 2 weeks. And we will be reviewing it here. And I think we are going to be doing a live reading on Yellow Flash's channel. Stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys know. Fat Freddy's Cat is here. Selwind, Venom 6848, Jason Wiz, Captain Opinion, Eric K and his wrench, Liam Neeson's chin. Kapla, Leon. That's great. That is great. What's up, Piola? Oh, she's here. What's up? All right. Well, we got to start out with the boys. So let's do that. And by the way, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We're on our march towards 300,000 subscribers. Couldn't have happened without you guys. If it stops today at 292, I'm okay. That's fine. It's all gravy. It's been a lot of fun. It's been very unexpected and and lucky. You know, I mean, there's hard work and there's perseverance, and I certainly don't want to sell anyone short or myself either because I've worked my ass off, but there is a little bit of luck involved too. Let's be real. And wow, it was fortunate considering what happened. And we'll talk a little bit, some California news. We got some California news, and that's my next video is I've got a California, dumpster fire video basically coming out in the next 24 hours or so. But we're going to start with the boys. Season 2, Episode 8, What I Know. And I'll preface this because if you haven't been watching my reviews on Nerdrotic Live, which is where I was usually doing those, and I'm going to split this up. So it's going to be the boys review and then the rest of the nooner. And if you haven't subscribed to Nerdrotic Live, that's where all my live streams go. Friday Night Tights, Nerdrotic Nooner, the Exozone, Inquisition. It's all there. For those of you asking for the Exozone, those are going to be available on my website as well. Okay, so yes, I used to own a comic shop in San Francisco. I'm friends with Derek Robertson. I'm pretty sure, unconditional love for that guy. And I've already told the story before. He is the co-creator of the Boys comic book, okay? So we're going to separate this. I think the comic book is utter genius. It's fun. It's not perfect all the way through, but it has a pretty solid ending. The first, 30 issues or so are brilliant, are just brilliant. Some of Garth Ennis's best work. I thought season 1 of The Boys was pretty good. There's problems I've had from the get-go. The basically cucking of Butcher, all the gender swaps to put... essentially mostly women in charge of the more respectable positions. The evil positions will have men in charge once in a while. It's the Boys for the Me Too Times Up era. That's what they've said. That's what they've said. That's not my description, but I think it's accurate. It's what they have said. But I thought season 1 was all right. It was, it still had some of that stuff there, but it was entertaining enough. It was funny enough. And I thought it would be going more towards the source material. And listen, I'm human. And if I'm watching an adaptation of something I liked, I'd like it to be in the spirit of that. And I can't say that The Boys is even close to the spirit of the comic books anymore. It's gone so far off. And maybe I'll do a video review kind of pointing out the specific things I have going on, but I think season 2 was subpar. I know a lot of people are liking it. If you do, that's awesome. I might have the unpopular opinion here, but I thought it was very subpar, predictable, very slow, extremely woke in episode 7. Episode 8 was better than episode 7 by far, but it was only better because it wasn't woke. It was... Jeremy's calling me right now. Should I answer? It says, I forgot I put in there. It says, Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers, Last Jedi Hater. Hey, dude, I'm live. I'm live. You want to say hi to everybody? I'll call you back, dude. All right, bye. He complains I never answer the phone. I answered the phone. Hope I didn't just blast his phone number everywhere. If not, give him a call. So where was I? The Boys, subpar. Season 2. Episode 8, disappointing, slow. Sitting around tables and talking about feelings. Is it the CW? No. Is it bad as Star Trek Discovery or Picard? No. It was still watchable. It still had moments. This show could most definitely turn around and become great. Absolutely great, especially if they move towards making it like the Boys comic, because, you know, it is supposed to be a satire, a funny satire, but it's not that fun because there's so much melodrama. And that's not Derek Robertson's or Garth Ennis's fault. I mean, I know they want their show to do well because, listen, both of them have had a hard time getting their stuff adapted right because of how hardcore the content is. You know, these aren't guys known for superhero comics. They're known for, you know, edgy, Vertigo type comics, right? Underground-ish, but independent-ish, although it's very mainstream, especially when a $1 trillion company is making this show. So there's nothing like, there's nothing punk rock about this. Sorry. And that's the way I see it. I see it as I'm watching, I said it last night. It's like watching the Dead Kennedys headline Lollapalooza and then sign with Atlantic Records. With Jello Biafra, not the crappy fake Dead Kennedys that are out there right now. I'm talking about the Jello Biafra led Dead Kennedys signing with like Atlantic Records or Geffen Records and headlining a tour with a reunited Zeppelin and freaking world. I mean, just like selling out completely. But I also want to say I'm very happy that people sell out. I mean, like, I want people to make money. I do, but I think story-wise, they sold out. Really sold out. So I hope Derek gets insanely rich off this show so he can buy 5 homes and live very comfortably the rest of his life. And I hope all the best for his family. You know, his wife is awesome. His kids are awesome. But I got to critique a show how I'm going to critique a show. And I hope he understands that. And he does, I think. So here we go. It's hard for me to remember, right, some of this stuff because it was so slow and I had to watch this in pieces. That tells you how bored I was with it, right? So I started watching it. I got about 15 or 10 minutes in. And then somebody's live stream came up, and it was Yellow Flash's live stream, and I just started watching Yellow Flash's live stream and just forgot all about it. Here, I'm going to pull up my notes here. Oh, boy, you're going to hear that. All right, so we just watched the massacre at the courthouse. Everybody's head popped. We don't know who it was. It's such a mystery. We do find out. I did think it was the person who escaped the asylum, and that person will probably come up later, but they probably showed that to make us think it was that person. Obviously, it was not that person, and we'll find out more about that later. And the boys decide okay, it's time to arm up and kill everybody again. And spoilers, they show up armed to the teeth and do practically nothing but sit by and watch. So they decide they're going to kill everybody, but Starlight and Huey want 24 hours. They think they can talk somebody into being, a witness once again. So they go to Maeve. Maeve calls Huey a twink, tells him to F off. But A-Train, overhearing a conversation with the church leader, that with Gus, I say Gus from Breaking Bad, that they're not going to choose him to go back into the 7. They're going to choose the Deep. So he says, screw them. And he hates Stormfront because she's a racist and a Yahtzee. So he steals all the files that they need to get them in a lot of trouble. In the meantime, Becky's running everywhere. She was looking for Butcher. She finds Butcher. She tells him the Homelander has taken him, and she wants her boy back. Everybody meets Becky, and they constantly say, she's great, she's great, she's awesome, she's great. And that's something they do quite a bit in this show, and that's something I really hate from Star Trek Discovery. They don't show you how great or smart somebody is. They have people tell you constantly. Remember, we're coming off episode 7 where they did the most on-the-nose cringe thing ever, that memes are, you're a Yahtzee, and you're able to make people Yahtzees through memes, which is where have we heard that before? I can't remember where we heard that before. I think it was one of those narratives from 2016, one of the many that ended up not being entirely true. But of course, we're all going, and we all, I got the message, and you got the message, and everybody got the message that, when I'm in a Discord group that I'm never in because I never use Discord, I'm getting my marching orders from Putin or whoever. And yeah, that's it. As a matter of fact, that's what, Jeremy was calling to give me my marching orders right now. But it's that kind of BS. So he's going to go get the son back, and he decides to go to Gus Fring, and I'm trying to go through this as fast as possible. And he's going to make a deal, and he wants he wants Becky, and then he's going to give Vought the kid. He's going to screw over everyone. Like, he thinks that's going to work. He has Vought linking on his cell phone, so they're going to take the kid away from Homelander. And it's going to be part of this whole thing. Now, we also have AOC and Grace trying to talk the government out of, giving Compound V to the populace, even after the attack. They said, no way, the president's going to go for it. As dumb of an idea as that is. And that's the plausibility problem I have. This might be something that worked with a comic book story, but if we're trying to ground this series and make it reality, that decision absolutely makes no sense. And I know what they're trying to make it an allegory for guns. That's right. An allegory for, gun control. What a poorly timed allegory, don't you think? I think the gun control argument has been eviscerated, even after the events of the last couple days. I think it's been eviscerated. People have tried, but no, I don't think it's going to work very much. So while they're doing a show that's supposed to be an allegory about gun control, they show a bunch of people arming up with lots of guns because they're above it all, right? We also get a scene with, Stormfront and Homelander with the kid. They go to Vought World. He gets overwhelmed because he's a little boy and he's got to be weak, and he's weak and he's scared all the time, just like Homelander was, because all the men are weak. Essentially, this episode should have been called The Girls, because it was all leading up to a big girl fight. And then, seriously, the whole episode is we sit around. We got Homelander sitting with the kid for a little while. He talks to Homelander about Homelander crying and being overwhelmed. You get like a little humanity from Homelander, and you see he's like got, a soft spot, obviously, for the kid. And it's more of these are the descendants of bad fathers thing. And then it's just setting up for this op. All right, well, Starlight and Huey get the files off to the internet. They don't really show you. They just, apparently they know somebody who can get to the internet that can get to everyone. And then all of a sudden there was this really cringe meme of Stormfront goose-stepping. So she has been found out. She found out while she was with the kid and Homelander. And so we all end up outside this cabin where Homelander is. Stormfront has been outed as a Yahtzee. And Butcher, last minute, they have a sonic device that distracts Homelander. He goes away. He leaves the kid behind. Why? I don't know. The kid is super powered. So you could just go, let's go, kid. I mean, it's like nothing's going to really hurt the kid. But that's the other thing. Doomcock and I were discussing this. We are not really clear on what power sets these people have. They have super strength. In some cases, bullets bounce off, but then they can get stabbed in an eye and burn. Do they have healing factor? I mean, like, these are the kind of things you need to know a little bit. They get distracted. Homelander gets distracted. He goes away. Butcher gets the kid, and he decides to double-cross Vought and goes back to Rebecca and says, hey, I was going to screw you over, and I just wanted you and I to be together, but I couldn't do it. So here's the kid. Get far away. He hands the keys to Mother's Milk, whose whole role in this entire series was to go, I got your back. Are you crazy? We can't do that plan. I'll give you a ride. That's pretty much it. That's all he did. Frenchie had one episode, and that's about it. They had little scenes between him and the female. The female was set on a journey in the beginning of this series, and I don't think it paid off very well at all. Because if it was about getting vengeance on Stormfront, she would have fought her like maybe alone, but that doesn't happen really. So big distraction. Homelander finds out that he's been double-crossed. He kills, there's a bunch of Vought agents there. I don't know if it's Vought or government working for Vought or whatever. He kills them all. And he's out of the picture. Stormfront shows up, blasts the car that Becky and the kid and Mother's Milk are in. The car goes flying and then rolls a couple times, and Mother's Milk and everybody's fine. Everybody's fine. Then we get our big girl fight. And it's all leading up to this. And, Maeve shows up, and it's Maeve, Starlight, the female, versus Stormfront. And they're all wailing on each other while the guys kind of look on. Maybe they get a couple of shots off, but that's about it. Stormfront gets stabbed in the eye and loses an eye, although bullets were bouncing off. So maybe it was an electronic field. I'm not entirely sure. Doesn't really matter at this point. But she's able to get stabbed in the eye. She does. And she's able to fight everybody off. She heads over and then then the bad thing happens. Becca gets killed. Becca gets killed by Stormfront, and Ryan freaks out and burns the shit out of Stormfront. Kind of it was, like Anakin Skywalker. They had to get their pop culture reference in because that has to be in effing everything right now. And, she dies, and then Stormfront's laying on the ground speaking German with no eye, very Anakin looking. Homelander shows up just covered in blood, and he looks sad. He feels bad for Stormfront, but he knows the score. Butcher's standing there looking over a very dead Becca, and then he picks up the kid. Homelander's going to kill everyone. Then Maeve shows up and does the "I've got a cell phone of video, and that's going to stop you forever" thing. Remember when they did that with a Black Noir, when he had Butcher dead to rights, and then he said, "I've got pictures of this kid," and then that just makes everything okay. They did it again, and that's supposed to keep Homelander in check, but Stormfront didn't die. They're gonna probably either bring her back later, or there's other things you can do with that character, possibly if they use them from the books. But everything just led up to this fight at the end, and the fight was okay, but everything up to it was boring. Wasn't necessarily woke. I think they got that really out of their system, other than hammering it home a couple of times, and there are some cringe scenes. But you know what? That last episode really took me out of the series, like completely. It was hard to even get back into this episode. I didn't even care. And when that happens, I'll still cover the show, but my rooting for it, which I was at some point, I'm not anymore. I'm finding it hard to root for Hollywood overall because now, is it because I like Yahtzees? No, nobody likes Yahtzees. There are no Yahtzees. They're furthering this narrative that really doesn't exist in a very serious and threatening manner in this world. There's about 1,000 more things that are more threatening right now, currently damaging things on the street, burning down businesses, and there's overbearing governments and stuff. But no, let's keep our eye on this distraction, which was, by the way, this was made a couple of years ago. So it was tired a couple of years ago. It's tired now. And that's part of the problem. I wanted to see the boys. The boys were, I'm not going to say barely in their show, but they weren't the center of their own show. Homelander still steals this. Carl Urban's great as the Butcher. When they finally gave him like some Butcher moments a couple episodes ago, which, good, but, and last episode, but that's it. That's it. And, Huey is supposed to be the surrogate for the audience. I care nothing for this character at all. And is it Jack Quaid? Probably. His performance is not bad. It's just average. Everything's average about the show. Now, this show might stand out to a lot of people because there's so much garbage out there, and I understand that. Because, when you contrast this with what you're going to get in a few short days with Star Trek Discovery, it will look like Shakespeare. But this could be so much better. And it was sidelined by its agenda. And if you don't believe me, then, I finally took your guys' advice and I started listening to the post show. Oh my God. Okay. That gives you a lot more context on things now, doesn't it? Sometimes even an open disdain for part of the fandom, a part of the fandom that, the literature devil brought up last week. Well, we're just getting rid of those bigots that we don't need. So they hold a press conference where Homelander has to apologize for Starlight because he called her a traitor, and he calls her one of his best friends and Maeve. And Homelander's going to now leave Maeve and her girlfriend and Starlight and Huey alone forever because she's got video evidence on a cell phone, and that's going to keep a god in check. I again don't know how that's he cares a lot what people think about him, but if he does, then somebody would have gotten video of Homelander. Well, they did earlier, but they would have gotten a lot more video on this because he's done so much shit. Now they have a little Psycho moment at the end. If you're all familiar with the film Psycho, he's at the press conference and he's talking, but it kind of mutes his voice and you hear some like music and they go in on his eyes and he's losing it. And then we get some more sitting in a park and talking about our feelings and stuff. Butcher's with the kid, with Ryan. He hands the Ryan off to Grace. Grace wants to start a government program like the Real Boys. The church leader's talking to AOC, and they're going to start she's going to be the head of this superhero watchdog organization in the government, which is the Boys. And then we find out AOC is the one popping heads. And that's supposed to be her big shock. And if they really lay into this and make her a legit villain, but remember, we said this about Stormfront. They had a great opportunity to clown both sides with that character. They could have easily done the far right Yahtzee thing along with the feminazi thing, and it looked like they were going there. It did. I'm born in Portland, but that's where they ended it, unfortunately. And they left a lot of pure comedy gold on the table. Why? Because they believe one thing more than the other, and it becomes abundantly clear in their script writing and abundantly clear in their interviews when they come out and say things like the most dangerous person around you is the white guy standing next to you. I'm so dangerous. I feel so dangerous. Then it ends with Homelander masturbating over the city, which I mean, that's a very boys thing, and it silhouettes him with his pants down in front of the moon, whacking it. I mean, that's a very boys thing to do. But there's not enough of that stuff, and it's not fun. It's not funny. I'm not looking forward to season 3. I don't have any questions. I think this show exists so you could see how horrible things get with Homelander, how terrible he acts. That's why we watch this show. We're not watching it for some intriguing plot or theories or who is the person who escaped from the asylum. I honestly don't care. AOC was the person who popped the heads. What's behind that? Well, it's obvious. Vought. It's going to be Vought. So they could, again, have potential where they could, do what South Park used to do, criticize both sides equally, which would be great. There's plenty to make fun of. But no, drop the ball on that one. And again, my biggest criticism is it's boring and predictable. And that sucks because I like this. I originally liked this show and I wanted it to do well. And it's doing well. It's doing great. It doesn't need me, and that's fine. But I'm here to be honest with you. And also, I tried to watch Blythe Manor. And it didn't grab me in the first episode. I mean, I can't make an honest criticism of it because I only watched part of a first episode, but it was so boring I just stopped. Now I'm probably gonna try to dip in. I like the first season of The Haunting of Hill House. That was really good. So I'll give it another chance. But as far as that's concerned, I tried and went, I got other things to do. So, all right. So that's the boys review. Thanks for watching. I didn't like it. I give it a 5 out of 10, as opposed to the last episode was 3 out of 10. And I will split this up and put it on Nerdrotic Live. Now we're going to go to the news, but I'm going to read a couple super chats before I get over there. Spirit of Truth Coaching for $5. I'm coming out of the Nerdrotic closet. I hereby announce my Gary fandom. Surely one of the more interesting YouTubers, just a 55-year comic fiend. Nice, Spirit of Truth. And thank you for being so stunning and brave to come out of the closet. Welcome, and thank you for the $5. That's brilliant. Cash Kester for $2. Like I said yesterday, that was a bull crap finale. Cash, you are correct. It was not good. It was not good at all. It had a couple of moments, but overall the season was slow, predictable. Really, really. You know what? I'm done with. I'm kind of over. Well, no, I'm really over nihilism, postmodernism. I've had my fill. I've been reading it, watching it for a couple of decades, and it's time to turn the page. Let's do something a little different. Why don't you inject a little hope and fun and inspiration? But that Hollywood doesn't feel that way. The most ungrateful town in the solar system, to be honest with you. A bunch of very unhappy, disgruntled rich people. Let's feel bad for them, though. Let's feel bad for them. Evan S. for $4.99. Hail, Gary. YouTube has deemed you to be top of all. Wow. Deemed you to be the top of all of my subs. You're above Tim Pool, and I watch all of his videos. Long live the Chad of the nerds. Thanks, Evan S. Tim Pool's a beast. That guy is just, he has blown up, and deservedly so. Him and Memology. That's where I get my news. I get my news from, I mean, others too, but Tim Pool and Memology. Give them a sub. Memology just hit 300,000, which is brilliant. IK1906. Anyone else bust out laughing at the cringe when Storm got stomped out? Yeah, it was. I was chuckling unintentionally and intentionally a couple times in this episode. Thanks, Ikane. Dreary Nitpicker for $9.99. Hail, my most cringe moment of the boys was Gus saying anger was a white man's privilege. Yep. Obviously, the writers didn't know about African dictators or majority of the dictators in general. I mean, as far as Gus's, what he was saying, he was basically saying he's working for this company who had him coordinate a Yahtzee who obviously hates him, but he's saying it's just business and I don't have the luxury to lash out. Nobody has the luxury to lash out in corporate America if you want to keep your job. And that's not a privilege. That's, you know what that is? That's the privilege of the creative in Hollywood. See, you know, if they've worked there all their lives and not really worked professionally in other areas, they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. Hollywood is a place where regularly people shout people down, drop N-bombs, drop homophobic remarks. Shout at people till they're crying, scream at people at the top of their lungs because a scene got ripped up. I mean, I love Christian Bale, but his meltdown was one of many. That happens every day. It's happening right now in Hollywood. That's how they treat people all the time. These are the people who get on their little fucking soapboxes and moralize to us, and they treat each other like shit. Like absolute shit. Harvey Weinstein was just one of, again, many, many, many who are still there. Men and women who watch that shit happen every day and let it go. These are despicable people. Not everyone, hashtag not all. The lower level places, are fine. It can get somewhat bad there. They're more like normal working places. But when you're talking about on the set and stuff, some people are pros. They handle their business and they're cool. But a lot of people, a lot of those avant-garde directors are freaking a-holes. A-holes. Absolute jackasses. I mean, look at like Robert De Niro. Do you think that guy's like cool-headed on set? Do you think he's nice to people? Do you think he's a nice guy? No, he's not. Does he look happy? And that's the thing you got to ask yourself. I mean, like, listen, it's 2020. I get it. These aren't the greatest times in the world. But you can tell when somebody is generally happy. And when you see a lot of misery, and this is before 2020, you just see like absolute misery. And it's like, dude, I mean, you have enough money to get help if you need it, if it's like depression or something like that. But yeah, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Alyssa Milano, Rose McGowan, she can be good sometimes, but these are not happy, healthy people. Alan Moore, not happy, healthy people. Great creatives. I don't know if I'd want their life or their mentality, though. Culture, I know I wouldn't. Culture Casino, thank you for the phallic unicorn for $1.49. Hail. Bird of Prey 5 for $5. Watch Star Trek Discovery panel from New York Comic Con. The transgender actor talked for about a B4 before announcing that they were transgender. Longer than I thought it would take. You know what? I must have zipped right past that one. I put it on double speed and kind of listened to it in the background. I'll go back and check. Virtual cons are depressing. And I think if people go back and watch them, it's going to remind them of 2020, and it might like bring back some serious like 2020 SD, PTSD of 2020. The freaking Zoom calls. Zoom is doing great now, like right now, but when things open back up again, I don't think anybody's going to want to ever see a Zoom call again. I promise you that is going to be a reminder, and they're going to go, those panels were terrible. They were terrible. And Hail Cloudfish TV, they made a video. I had no idea. They put out a tweet. I was off Twitter. Twitter's just stupid. I can't waste too much time on it. And I guess they compared Friday Night Tights to one of the panels. I guess we were on simultaneously with New York Comic Con, and we were slaying them. Now, we were all getting our ass beat by a girl who plays Minecraft. Let's keep that in mind. And that's what Hollywood has to compete with. And that's why Hollywood is very, very, very scared. They're scared of you and me and Bird of Prey 5 and 32 flavors of Nick Weiser and Nerd Cookies, because we are their competition now. We can sit there and talk about their old content forever and be competition against them. We can show their own live streams and we'd get more people than they would in their live streams. It's because, like I said, I was watching The Boys. Yellow Flash's live stream came up. I'd rather watch it because I know I'm going to get entertained by Yellow Flash. I know I'm not going to get preached to by Yellow Flash. And, again, I'll probably laugh a few times. All right. Let's get the... hang on. There we go. We're in the Star Trek portion of this. So I've got to pull up an article. Okay. We went over this a little bit on Friday Night Tights. Jack Beers was keeping track of the likes and dislikes on the New York Comic Con panel. Okay. And I think it's way more concerning. Oh, look at this. Hey guys, you want to see some, I got to see if I can show these. Hang on. All right. I got Batman set photos. Person who sent me these, let me know if you want verbal shout outs or not for this. Verbal shout outs or not. But here we go. Let's do some Batman set photos and then we'll get to the Star Trek stuff. Apparently these are new. These are new. Now, very exciting police truck with, you see these all the time in London, England. I don't know exactly where they are. Let me move this over a little bit. But person who sent these to me, let me know in the chat if you're there, if it's okay if I shout you out because I don't want to get you in trouble. Here, I'm going to have to kind of go back and forth from these as I change it because I can't see my arrow right now. So we'll go boop, and then we'll go. That's good. Getting to the good. There we go. That's a good one. That's a good one. Gotham City Department, and we got some cars there. But here we'll get to the money shot. Let's get to the money shot here. Let's get to Robert Pattinson. Somebody I am not. Let me see I got to see what the text says on this. Yeah, set in Liverpool. Here we go. There he is. And this is new. So I don't know if it's from when they came back to shooting or not. I'll have to check in on that. He looks pretty, he looks skinny there. There's no weight on his neck at all. Yeah. Listen, as far as the Batman is concerned, I am open-minded about it. I'm willing to give this movie a chance. I'm not loving his casting. I'm not loving what I see, but my mind could be changed with a good movie. It's been done before. When I saw The Joker, I'm like, why do we need this? I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is great, but why do we need this? And it's not going to have Batman. It's just going to be a one-off. And all right, whatever. I mean, like I wasn't super excited about it. Then I saw it, and it was just simply the best movie I saw that year. So could that happen here? Yes, absolutely. But, a fourth time out on Batman, I just wanted to see an established Batman with Robin, with the Bat family, full rogues gallery of villains, fully functional Batcave. And maybe we'll get that. We'll see. But it looks too damn skinny to me. And no, Batman doesn't need to look like the Hulk, but he needs to look like he's in shape. I know the suit will cover it, but I don't know. The Batman I grew up with didn't need a suit of armor. Again, Batman could kick the shit out of 72 ninjas naked. But there you go. Set photos. I don't know. The movie's been delayed till 2022 because of the COOF. I don't know if there's a lot of rumors going around that there's other trouble on the set, including Robert Pattinson. And he wouldn't be the first person to sign up for Batman and then regret it because you're in a costume all the time. And it's a pain in the ass role to play if you're a big star or if you think you're a big star. That's why you should probably usually cast unknowns in these roles so they appreciate it a little more. And we'll see. We'll see. But there you go. And thanks, person who sent that to me. And again, let me know if it's okay, and I will give you plenty of shout outs. Plenty of shout outs. All right. There you go. This is why you turn into the nooner. I am going to go find Star. Okay, we're going to get a little fluff Star Trek article here. Now, I'm sure you all heard that Alex Kurtzman is planning Star Trek through 2027. 2027. For 7 more years, Alex Kurtzman thinks he's going to have the reins of Star Trek. I'm not going to question anything anymore after this year. I'm just going to kind of just wait and see. I don't think so. I don't think Paramount Plus will be around in 7 years. I think it will be, here's my prediction with Paramount Plus, with a lot of the streaming services. They are going to fizzle and fade, and they're going to have to get into partnership with Amazon or Netflix. And it might even turn into a streaming war 2. The streaming war 2, which will be Amazon and Netflix vying for old broadcast television properties or the entire catalog or the streaming service. Like, Netflix might be bidding to get Paramount Plus on their service, something like that. Because all of these streaming services, are not going to survive. In the early days, I thought they would because, I didn't know much about them. So I thought it'd be a lot cheaper just to have everything, in-house and you could just store it. But I didn't think about server costs and how much it actually takes to keep these things running. And unless they refine that, which they could, I don't know how they're going to be able to afford it because these things don't bring in the money that a broadcast television network can bring in with those, fat advertising dollars or billion-dollar films can bring in. Remember, Hollywood was getting injected with, hundreds of millions of dollars like clockwork every Friday for decades. And that stopped. And they're freaking the F out. And they should. They should. Okay, Star Trek Discovery jumps past canon into Strange New Worlds. No, it jumps past canon, and everything it does establishes it. It gives that canon an end. So jumping it to the future 930 years can potentially do more damage than it actually being a prequel. You notice they never try to just make a story. There's always got to be something tied in. Now, this will be interesting. This is going to be, it'll be very interesting to see how season 3 turns out. Because I don't think there's a hook to this one. There was a hook. There was Pike to season 2. There was the curiosity factor in season 1. I think everybody knows what they're going to get with this. And I just think it's going to be, how cringe will it be? Star Trek Discovery jumps past canon into Strange New Worlds. By jumping 930 years into the future, Discovery gets out of the constraints of previous Star Trek series, at the same time gives itself a shot in the arm. Oh, really? Oh, really? Star Trek Discovery's second season ended with the crew of the USS Discovery jumping 930 years into the future. It was a blind leap into the unknown. Well, they came from the unknown. They didn't know what they were doing in the series. They had defeated their enemy. They didn't need to jump there, but they did it anyway. I want you to think about that. So season 2 was about an artificial intelligence that wasn't quite an artificial intelligence, but it had enough consciousness to know it wanted to be an artificial intelligence. And it just needed more information to become an artificial intelligence that it knew it wanted to be. So it must have been aware and conscious, but not quite enough. And it just luckily happened to find a giant planet that flies around observing things and storing data. And that planet just happened to cross the USS Discovery and wanted to give them all the data. Isn't that weird and coincidental? So they defeat the artificial intelligence because they had a time-traveling suit and they were following these signs, but then they found another wormhole or anomaly where they could go into the future, and they lost a probe, and that probe accidentally turned into like evil V'ger and wanted to come back and kill them all, but it wasn't quite an artificial intelligence yet. Well, they defeated their enemy. And the plan was because the artificial intelligence needed that one piece of information that was on the Discovery in their data bank. So they had to get the Discovery out of the timeline, but they defeated their enemy. It was neutralized. It was done. They didn't need to leave, but they left anyway. Yeah. Star Trek Discovery. For viewers, this might be the best thing that's happened to Discovery, which premieres on Thursday on CBS All Access. Disclosure, CBS All Access is owned by Viacom CBS, which owns CNET. You can't see it, but this is a CNET article. The show has spent its first 2 seasons tiptoeing and contorting itself around different aspects of Trek lore. Here we go again. From Michael Burnham's Sonequa Martin Green's relationship with foster brother Spock. Why did they have to tiptoe around that? Is it because they gave Spock a stepsister that nobody's ever talked about? They couldn't have just, created a character that has their own family? Why are you acting like it's the Trek lore's problem? It's like Alex Kurtzman writes these. Foster brother Spock, Ethan Peck, and father Sarek, James Frain, to the question of bald Klingons and why we never heard of a super advanced starship able to teleport anywhere through a mycelial network of spores using a giant blue tardigrade that they stole from Anas Abdeen, in my opinion. And while Discovery did an okay job, wow, they can't even get their own website to give it like major props. An okay job of getting Discovery to fit into canon. Are you fucking kidding me? It was all a little exhausting. Which is why this time jumping past any established canon is so exciting. It gives Discovery a breath of fresh air and a chance to tell completely new stories. I'm guessing, I want to predict. I could be wrong, but they're going to say that these stories will be more accessible and relatable or relevant. I could be wrong. The trailers tease a federation that is greatly diminished, a completely different dynamic from previous shows where the galaxy-spanning alliance has always served as the foundation of creator Gene Roddenberry's vision of a better future. Well, Alex Kurtzman doesn't believe that. He couldn't tell that if he wanted to, if his life depended on it, so he has to drag Star Trek down to his level. It has been very freeing, Discovery executive producer and co-showrunner Michelle Paradise said in an interview last week, who worked on all of a half of a fucking season of Star Trek, and you're free? You're free. Why do you buy these properties if you feel constrained and imprisoned by lore? Well, I would, because it's superior. We know why they buy them. Platforms. But jumping... The world, it feels very freeing, Discovery executive producer and co-showrunner Michelle Paradise said in an interview last week. The world that they come into is very, very different than the one that they left. 930 years different. That's very succinct there. But jumping ahead so far doesn't mean the writers are throwing canon and what's come before out of the window. We're not just sticking things in a blender and tossing them all over the place. Well, that will be different because that's what you were doing before. We've been really thoughtful about it. Have you? Saying a thing doesn't make the thing a thing. Okay? Saying you've been thoughtful doesn't mean you've really been thoughtful. Nobody actually believes you've been thoughtful. And more importantly, you don't believe you've been thoughtful. Why the Federation has fallen so far and the work to build it back up makes up the spine of Discovery's third season. There's some promotional pictures that look like the end of the series, and you have Michael Burnham on the bridge, Mikey Spock, and it looks like Captain Mikey Spock. It looks like she's just announced captain, and it's the end of the series, and she's going to say engage or make it so, or it's all about me, whatever. Why the Federation? Okay, so Strange New Adventures. When last we left the crew, the Discovery had followed Burnham, donning the Red Angel suit, the Iron Man suit, and leading the ship into the future unnecessarily. Part of a complicated time loop. No, you guys just didn't know what the hell you were writing it. You were making it up as you went because you fired showrunners halfway through season 1. Then you brought in Michelle Paradise after Alex Kurtzman couldn't showrun because he's an incompetent boob. And you just lost track of your own fucking scripts. Part of a complicated time loop that was supposed to prevent the end of all sentient life by a malicious artificial intelligence called Control. That wasn't quite an artificial intelligence. Remember, it needed more information. Season 3 will pick up immediately after with Discovery and Burnham jumping into the future, and specifically for Burnham into the ship of Cleveland Booker. He's... Really? You called him Book? Really? You guys have no fucking original thoughts in your brains, do you? He's a new character played by David Aia, who serves as a guide for Burnham and the rest of the crew, including Commander Saru, Douglas Jones, Lieutenant Paul Stamets, Andy Rapp, famous diddly of Kevin Spacey, Dr. Hugh Culber, Wilson Cruz, famous a-hole on Twitter, and Ensign Sylvia Tilly, Mary Weisman. Cleveland Booker is a character that's going to bring levity, fun, and a different spontaneous dynamic to the franchise, which we may not have had before. So they admit that they weren't fun. Confirmed. That's what Aia said. That's what the character said. Their new hire said that he's bringing in the fun. Ayala. I don't know what his last name is. We'll just call him Book. He said that the character would bring out a new side to Burnham. You mean that would require a side being out? Yes, there are sides to a block of wood. You know, a 2x4. There's the 4 side and the 2 side, and there's the top and the bottom. But they're all blocks of wood. It's all wood. Teasing a bit of mischief in process, Ayala said that he was excited about the new kinds of technology he and the rest of the cast get to play with, considering how far flung into the future they are. He talked about an energy gun glimpsed in the trailer called a Talawa, a Jamaican... it means mighty. That gives audience a sense of advanced technology and just how different everything is now. Here's the deal. I've got a couple of Star Trek fans in the chat there. What is the first thing that crosses your mind, Bird of Prey 5 or Captain Spire or who's ever out there, that they're in the future and they have access to technology that's 930 years ahead of them? That is going to fuck up the canon beyond belief unless you never bring the Discovery back into the timeline. That's the only way you don't screw everything up permanently, because you have a ship that now has access to technology from 930 years in the future. I'm guessing you can adapt it. You can get designs. That's all they would be doing. They are, they are a science vessel. For Christ's sake, a research vessel. That's what they'll do. They'll like, oh, we got access to the technology. We need to download everything and bring it back. So unless they don't bring them back, that's the only way you can't screw things up. And I can't imagine the kind of questions the hardcore Trekkies are going to have that won't get answered in this show. I mean, don't even look for an answer. I'm telling you what's going to happen. They're going to go into the future and they're going to somehow think it's a good idea not to take some of that technology, or they'll forget about it. Probably forget about it. Paradise also teased familiar species would show up, even if Discovery's relationship with them would be shaken up. Species we know from the past. Maybe we interact with them differently. Alliances have shifted. While the trailers suggest an even darker tone to the show has already filtered with a lot of grit in its first two seasons. Already flirted with a lot of grit. Paradise said that ultimately the show remains true to the spirit of Star Trek. Again, saying a thing doesn't make it a thing. Just because Michelle Paradise, who probably knows jack shit about Star Trek, thinks it's in the spirit of Star Trek, I don't know. Lifelong Star Trek fan. Is Star Trek Discovery in the spirit of Star Trek? No, it's not. Our heroes are uniquely poised to help bring the kind of hope and bring that kind of optimism into the new future and inspire others around them. Okay, let me get this straight. Michael Burnham is a fugitive after she committed mutiny and started a war. Then Mary sued her way back to her position. Then she gets scooped up by Pike, and they have to find the Red Angel, which was her, to fight an AI that doesn't know it's an AI, but still an AI. I'm trying to figure out what's hopeful and inspiring. Saru's sister was food for the predator race on her planet, and 6 months later was able to fly a starfighter in a battle. That was dumb. I don't know what's hopeful and inspiring. See, they say these words, and that's what they do. They're going to write what they write. They don't know what fucking hopeful and inspiring is. So what they're going to do is they write it, and they don't know shit. So they actually go online and they hear us going, man, we need something that's hopeful and inspiring. And they're all, okay, we'll just use those words in our interview. Empathy, hopeful, inspiring. I don't know what these things mean, but apparently the humans who used to like the old Trek that we bought and destroyed really like them. So let's put them in our interviews, because nobody will ask us follow-up questions in the Access Media about jack shit. Nobody will ask us, what happened to the control, or, anything. Reflection of society. Paradise notes, oh boy. Took a minute for that to sink in. Reflection of society. Paradise notes that this season of Discovery deals with connections and disconnections, themes that we're all wrestling with thanks to the global coof that has forced millions to stay at home and stay apart from each other, although they filmed it well before any of this happened. It resonates quite unexpectedly. We could not have imagined when we wrote and shot season 3 of the show how much it would resonate. Discovery embraces diversity from the get-go and was the first Star Trek series to feature a gay couple. Really? Are you technically sure about that, CNET? The push for they were also the first show to have a non-binary transgender, and we know that wasn't true either. The push for more representation continues in this coming season with a few new characters. The first, maybe active gay couple. I mean, that kiss. No, there was a lesbian kiss. First show to have a gay man transported, or no, it's the first show to have a gay man resurrected out of a piece of poop. That's what Star Trek Discovery did. So thank you. I'm sorry, mushroom. The first is Adira, a non-binary played by Blue Del Barrio, who is okay, wait a minute. Sorry, I want to start this sentence over again just to get it right. The push for... when sometimes you eat, I like pickles and they're sour and it just makes you go, that's what just fucking happened right now. Discovery embraced diversity from the get-go and was the first Star Trek series to feature a gay couple, Stamets and Culber in the main cast. The push for more representation continues in this coming season with a few characters. The first is Adira, a non-binary played by Blue Del Barrio, who is also non-binary in real life. The second is a transgender character, Naamid. I don't know if you can see this. Apparently she's not named. She's Namiad Gray, played by Ian Alexander, who is the first out transgender Asian American to appear in a TV series. Really? I feel like that isn't true. Oh, wait, I remembered. I don't care. Ayala, who concedes he wasn't a Star Trek fan before joining the cast. Now, listen, actors don't need to be fans. They never said an actor needed to be fans. Showrunners, yes, they need to. They need to be fans by the time they're running their show. When you're taking on an established property, I pointed out that just in my spare time, because I liked it, when I got into Game of Thrones and I picked up A Song of Ice and Fire in 2011. I picked up A Game of Thrones, the book. I burned through all 5 books in 6 months. And then I did it again and did it again. And then I could answer trivia questions along with the best of them within 2.5, 3 years. Because I just read them over and over again. Because I actually liked it. If I had time, I would just watch Star Trek and Doctor Who all day, every day. I catch pieces of one at least every day. I'll switch between, right now it's Classic Who and TNG. Original series is still the best. And no apologies at all. It's true. For Paradise, it was important. Okay, so I jumped ahead. Sorry. Ayala, who concedes he wasn't a Star Trek fan before joining the cast, this is distracting me. A Star Trek fan before joining the cast said he was still struck by the legacy of diversity left by the franchise. Is that what you were struck by? Not like your paycheck or the fact that you're in Star Trek? Yes, it has a legacy of diversity. It also had a legacy of meritocracy and doing a lot of great things for television. It also had a great legacy of getting its message to the most people possible and not really alienating any of their fan base. It also had a legacy of hiring writers who were competent. But, legacies end. That's why they're legacies. Star Trek for me, and I'm sure for many other people, has always been at the forefront of normalizing diversity. For Paradise, it was... They're all acting like this is fucking new. These self-important, self-aggrandizing pieces of pompous asses. for Paradise, it was as important as staying faithful to Star Trek's long-established lore. So you apparently don't give a shit about diversity. I wouldn't compare that. Again, saying a thing doesn't mean it's a thing. If you care about, if Michelle Paradise cares as much for diversity as she does for the Star Trek lore, then, man, investigate her because she is in the clan. Star Trek has always valued diversity, and Gene Roddenberry started it back on the original series, having a diverse cast at a time when diversity was not a thing one did on television, Paradise said. We're making sure that we honor that by alienating as much of those bigots out there, because I'm not a bigot, because I value diversity. I'm talking like Michelle Paradise, as much as I value the Trek lore that I know of off of a YouTube channel. My prediction is Michael J. Crawford is going to love this season. He's going to turn it around. He's going to turn over a new leaf and say, I love Star Trek Discovery now. And good for him. God bless him. Hope he's doing good over there. What a bunch of garbage. Oh, I don't need to hear from you. All right, so we got a $49.99 super chat. Let's read that right now. Thank you very much. And let's get to your questions, and we'll get to you. If you were looking for a good horror graphic novel, I am writing one right now, and it's up on Indiegogo titled Massacre on Route 66. The perks are you can vote and how the book is made. I normally do not do this, but I like your channels. Well, awesome. Okay, so it's called Massacre on Route 66. I'll check it out right now. Thank you for the $49.99. So I am writing one right now, and the perks, you can vote on how the book is made. That is pretty cool. I like that. Thank you, American Knight Rider. I appreciate you. I'm going to go over there real quick, and we'll take a quick look at it. I put in Massacre on Route 66, and it gives me the Vegas shooter. Why does it give me the Vegas shooter? I guess I got to put Indiegogo. Tell you what. What are you, American Knight Rider? Email me real quick. Gary at nerdrotic.com. Give me the link to it, because it's not coming up quick on Google. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. But thank you, sir. And I'll check my email. Where were we? Bird of Prey 5. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Kapla, my friend. Shinra's Demise for $5. I really hope season 3 isn't woke, but third season's the charm for the SJW nags. As far as the boys, we'll find out. I would say the answer is season 2 was woke. It was woke. Is it as woke and cringe and intersectional as like Westworld season 2 and 3 and Watchmen? No. But it was there. It was there. Boys season 2 is like, I'm not going to watch it again. I would watch season 1 again. I'm not going to watch it again, but it was watchable, but I mostly did not like it at all. And I know it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but that's how I feel. Odin's baby will be baby Thor. His wife is Freya. Oh, Eric K. Thank you. There you go. Thank you for the $2. Nerd Cookies. Check out Nerd Cookies channel. She talks about Lord of the Rings and many other things. She does the lore stuff. She's really, really good. Please check out Nerd Cookies channel. I live streamed with her on Stephen Walton's channel a week ago and had a very good time. We'll have her on the show sooner than later. Cheers, Gary. Just rewatched Jurassic Park. I forgot just how perfect this movie was. They don't make them like that anymore. Kathleen Kennedy produced it, though. Yeah, she got coffee. She might have, she handed a check to Steven Spielberg and was paid, $10,000 for it or so, whatever. I haven't seen that movie yet. What I'll do, I want to see it on the big screen. So once it's on the big screen near me, I will go watch it for the first time. It's a long story. Well, it's not a long story. I was in prison when it came out, and I just never got around to seeing it. Now, I have seen the sequel. I've seen a couple of sequels, but I have not seen Jurassic Park. Out of the corner of my eye on a TV, yes, but I have not watched it all the way through, and now I want to watch it in a theater. Largely considered the last Spielberg movie. Now, he changed after that. Now, I like Saving Private Ryan and all those, but I'm talking about like 80s Spielberg, like E.T. Spielberg and Close Encounters Spielberg and Raiders of the Lost Ark Spielberg. That's Spielberg. Not post Kate Capshaw, Hollywood elite Illuminati Spielberg. You are more interesting than anything on TV, says Polaris Sucks for 2 Canadian pesos. Well, thank you. Well, you guys help a lot. Like a lot. So thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Oh my God, that Star Trek article. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of blah, blah. But that ending fired me up. I hate the show with the passion of 1,000 suns. TM Doomcock, thank you very much. Whew. Hey, I want you all. I think Doomcock needs to resurrect his reviews with Harvey. I really do. I'm going to try to talk him into it. I know they're a little more work and stuff, but I think he needs to do it. I think it's time. I think Star Trek Discovery would be a good time to do that. Because I'm resurrecting my reviews. I was up till 6 in the morning. I was up until 6 in the morning working on videos. I woke up. Thank God my kid didn't go to school today, because I was like, awesome father, slept till 11:30 a.m. I should be ashamed of myself. He got, he's old. He can take care of himself. But yeah, not good. Mom calls me and's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, well, I had to finish a video. I uploaded that Lord of the Rings video at like 6. That's when I went to bed, and I hit a timer on. I can't even remember what time I put it up for, to be honest with you. And honestly, I watched it a bunch, but I didn't do the final pass. I usually watch it before I release it. I think I started watching it and I fell asleep. Smooth Jam California for £5. I feel bad for Cavill. He seems like a stand-up guy, but he constantly gets pushed to the side in all of his projects. Superman deserves better. Cavill should be the biggest star in Hollywood right now, without a doubt. Without a doubt. His trajectory was always up. He hit a little bump in the road, but then The Witcher happened, and it realized his potential. Something Warner Brothers didn't do. Something the man from U.N.C.L.E. did, by the way. I got to give credit to my old co-host. He was bugging me like crazy to see that movie. I'm like, I don't want to see the fucking man from U.N.C.L.E. Like, why did they even resurrect it? Then I finally saw it. I'm like, oh, shit, he's right. It's really good. It's really, really good. So, Mission Impossible, he's a good actor. He's a good actor. He's A-list. Remember when he wanted to re-sign for Superman and Warner Brothers said, you're not A-list? Well, guess what, motherfuckers? He's A-list now. And he's just in the wrong era. I almost titled this whole live stream, Hollywood no longer needs the white male lead. I just thought it might be a little too salty for YouTube, or maybe not, but it's true. Because I was, it's funny that you bring that up, because that was really rolling around in my head today, that Henry Cavill should be in everything. He should have a 3-picture deal with Superman. But now we get Enola Holmes, which I'm just going to say somebody I'm related to likes it. Okay, so, I'm not going to watch it. I haven't seen it. It looks pretty cringe to me, but somebody I'm related to likes it a lot. So, but I don't hate them for it. See, that's the big difference. I love them dearly. But, he should be starring in everything. He should be Sherlock Holmes. He should fast track The Witcher. And honestly, Yennefer and Cirilla should have reduced time. I think the data is in. People like The Witcher for Henry Cavill, the Bard, but they liked Henry Cavill. Who was the first picture you saw? What's the title of the show? So if you didn't listen to Friday Night Tights, do you want to hear the bad news again? I did it on the Inquisition last night, but The Witcher is not going to be the main character in his own show. So if you recall, if you watched quartering videos, because he was covering it the most, prior to The Witcher coming out, the writers on that show were acting like SJW a-holes and being combative with the audience. This is all forgotten now because the show was good. To a lot of people, it was good. For me, 7.5 out of 10. I liked Henry Cavill in it. I like some of the concepts. Almost too much Yennefer, but the actress playing Yennefer was really good. I liked her. Cirilla, nah. She's nothing to me. She wasn't terrible, but really kind of boring. That being said, the creatives on the show were being shitheads to their audience, and it all got forgotten because the show was popular. But it was the quartering who reported, because I went to the article, that's where I heard it first, that they originally wanted to make this show from Yennefer and Cirilla's perspective and not the Witcher's perspective. Now, the books, I guess, shift focus later, some of the short stories, and I haven't played the game, but it looks like it's from the Witcher's perspective to me. Well, season 2 is not going to be from the Witcher's perspective. Now, could it be a possibility that we might get more Witcher, but we're just getting it from Yennefer's perspective? Sure. It doesn't really matter whose perspective you get it from, as long as, there's Henry Cavill in his own show and he has the majority of the screen time. And that's how you want to be successful. You give him the majority of screen time. I'm sure Netflix is paying for focus groups, but here's how I think it went down. Laura Hisrich, right, is the showrunner. She's been involved in some other Netflix shows. Some of them have been okay. Some of them haven't. So she gets a success with Witcher season 1. But she originally wanted to have it from a different perspective. She gets her success. They allow her to do season 2 her way. And then we get this. I probably should have pulled this up before, but hang tight. This ain't good news. There we go. I got to get to the right time. Almost there. Here we go.
In the thick of it?
Yes, I'm actually at Arborfield Studios right now. I don't know if it sounds like I'm in a cathedral to you, but I'm in one of the studio buildings, and they're shooting just over yonder.
I just assumed your home was a scary black box that just had no
actually,
furniture.
ironically enough, it's only black on the back. The rest of it looks like a super budget Fortress of Solitude around me. It's all white polystyrene walls.
I wish we could turn the camera around. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So second season for this, and as I alluded to early in our conversation, this was a property that meant a lot to you, something you chased. Must be so gratifying that the audience responded and you get a second crack at it to continue this character. What are the lessons learned for you from the first slew of episodes that you're applying to this next batch?
What are the lessons I've learned?
Or is it simply just an opportunity? Like, obviously the advantage of an ongoing story is fleshing out the world, fleshing out the character, more time to let it breathe.
I mean, yes. I mean, again, I'm a carriage on this train.
All right, so he's going to be very polite in this and very like a good soldier. He even says it. He's like, Henry Cavill seems like a really good guy. He's not trying to throw shade, but he's also being very honest here. And the fact that he opens up and you're going to hear what you're going to hear means it bothers him in the most gentlemanly of ways, but it's bothering him. It's clearly listen. If you haven't listened, listen along.
And it's about finding my character's place within the overall vision of the showrunner. The showrunner has a particular vision for the show and for the characters in the show. And I don't know if you've read the books, but the books, certainly the first few, there's very much from a Geralt perspective. And so with the shift of the showrunner's vision, where it's an ensemble cast more so than a singular lead.
Shift of the showrunner's vision.
And the perspective is shifted to be almost more of a Cirilla Yennefer perspective.
Shifted. A shift from the showrunner's original plan and a shift in perspective. Why would you do this? Why? The show was successful. It was the second most successful show, according to Netflix, last year. In a year of a lot of successes for Netflix. And quite frankly, if this show stayed on the trajectory, it would have become the next, I don't know about Game of Thrones, but it would have been the next water cooler show, one of them at the very least. But I don't think we're going to get those anymore. I think those days are over. After watching season 2 of The Boys and season 2 of The Umbrella Academy and fucking Watchmen and season 2 and 3 of Westworld and season 4 of Mr. Robot and season 3 of Legion, like Hollywood doesn't have it in them to keep a success going. They have this Tourette's type of urge to just get political. Once, like, you can tell they're holding back. They have to be good in the first season so you'll watch. But once you're in, it's like, oh my God, Orange Man. You know, it's like they've been holding it in all year. It's completely ruined the town. I don't care if you're a fan of the president or not. You cannot deny it has ruined the town. I have a lot of people come in my member streams and email me. Again, all sides are pissed about what's happening. They condemn the violence. They condemn the division, and they just want our escapism. So remember that the journey we've gone on is Hollywood isn't political. You're seeing ghosts. And then it's always been political. And you're the one who's changed and become a bigot. And then it's become, when we ask for just no politics and hope and inspirational, it's never been hope. And you're an infant if you want something with hope and inspiration. Everything adult needs to be dark and filled with shades of gray. And there is no such thing as good and evil, and it's just tiresome.
And so it's about finding my character's place within that vision and making sure that I do everything I can to be as faithful to the source material as possible that I can be within the structure set out for me. And so, obviously I want to be a loyal soldier, and I want to make sure the train keeps on running. I'm not going to derail the whole thing. It's about making sure I play my part in it, but also maintaining my love and belief for the fantasy and the books and indeed the games, because a big gamer and that the stuff which CD Projekt Red did, absolutely stunning, and they set the bar super high for when it comes to everything Witcher. And so, yeah, it's about finding that place in there where I can do both. I can help the showrunner realize their vision, and also bring everything I can from the books and from that psychopathic, like, loyalist nature of mine into my own personal character.
That is rationalization. And I think he was being, again, nothing bad to say about Henry Cavill right there. I think he is a great Superman and needs to continue to do it. I think he's a great Geralt, and I think he would do a very good job. I'd like to see him with a beard. But no, he's not going to be a star in his own show. That is abundantly clear right there. I think he's just tempering your expectations. And I tell you right now, the ladies are the ones who are the most upset about this, not the dudes. Again, the girl who played Yennefer, as from somebody who only read the books, so I didn't have this visual connection to her in the games. I thought she did a good job. I did. She was, when they hired her, I thought she looked like she was a teenager. Maybe they used a young picture of her. She obviously has grown up since then, and she did a good job, and it fit and it worked because she was a good actor. Cirilla, though, I mean, maybe that's, now I've seen what she looks like in the game. Now I'm like, that girl needs to fill out a little bit, but we'll find out. We'll find out. But I think chances are we're going to get the sophomore jinx with the Netflix sophomore jinx that kind of went along with almost every one of their Marvel shows except for Daredevil. Quite frankly, Daredevil is the only one that bucked the trend, and that's the one that had the most creative people. And the weakest season had Laura Hisrich on it. And I believe she was involved with Iron Fist too. Let me see. I don't want to like give her shade because I thought she did a good job with season 1, but if she was doing it if she was doing it just to be, you know, because she was forced to, I mean, I'm hoping, I'm sorry, did I say it's Laura Schmidt? I thought her name was Hisrich. I could be, I'm wrong on that one. Sorry. Why did I keep saying her name wrong? My bad. It's Laura Schmidt, but I thought it was Hisrich. Where did I get that from? Maybe she had a hyphenated name or something, but Laura Schmidt. And she worked on The Umbrella Academy season 1, which was good. The Defenders, which sucked. Daredevil. I believe it was it? She was a co-executive producer on 3, I believe. And then Power, Do No Harm, Parenthood, Private Practice, and that's about it. As a writer, she's worked on a West Wing. So I mean, she did a decent job in season 1. Could it have been better though? Well, we'll never know. We'll never know. The Witcher lives and dies with Henry Cavill. So that's pretty much it. It's not about Laura Schmidt. Sorry, I got her name wrong. It's not about Laura Schmidt or the girl playing Cirilla or Yennefer. It's Henry Cavill. And maybe have the toss a coin to your Witcher. It's not called the Yennefer. You don't toss a coin to your Yennefer. You toss a coin to your Witcher. Shit. It's really that simple, but Hollywood could fuck up a good lay. They really could. I knew within about 5 minutes that The Boys season 2 had been hijacked. I couldn't make it past 2 episodes. Is there anything of value after episode 2? Douglas A. Burton, not really, no. Read the comic books for $4.99. Thank you for the $4.99. Read the books. Bamagrad, what's up, Bamagrad, for $12? Hail, Gary. I hope you and the family are doing well. I am working on a Halloween care package for you. Why, thank you. But I need your t-shirt jacket size and the t-shirt size for Nerdrotic Jr. I wear a large t-shirt, and Nerdrotic Jr. would wear now a medium. He's getting big. He's growing up like his brother. The Wagner line, is that they are strong. They are very strong. The in-laws. Thank you, Bamagrad. I appreciate it. Francisco Sanchez Jr. for $20. Hail, Gary. I got some anime manga recommendations for you. Monster manga or anime is great. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, yes. Anime or manga. Pluto, great manga. Vagabond, astonishingly great art and story. That's it for now. I'll keep it all in mind. Now, Full Metal Alchemist, I am aware of, and I've watched some of that stuff. It was in my, and I still need somebody to take credit for it. Whoever sent me Attack on Titan season 2 and My Hero Academia on Blu-ray, let me know. Shoot me an email so I can give you credit. You send it to my P.O. box, and I was like, that's brilliant, but you didn't tell me where it came from. Stargate 404 for $5. Just started The Boys last week. Sad to see it spiral into woke decline. Storefront was almost as annoying as she was a Portlander and a Yahtzee. Yeah. She was supposed to be annoying. I think what was more annoying was we could see the motivations behind her storytelling. I find that to be the most annoying. It's like, oh, it's pretty easy to figure. I don't understand it. But this is something that I learned when I moved to San Francisco. And this is woven into the DNA of people who are lifelong San Franciscans. Or San Franciscos, whatever the fuck you want to call them, San Franciscos. They really love to tell you about their politics. I mean, they actually need to wear a shirt that says, I want to tell you about my politics. Like, you'll meet somebody on the street and, I relate it to Bush because it was back then. And they're like, oh, how you doing? My name's Bill. That goddamn Bush. Yeah, I mean, that's how, shit would go down like that. Like, that's how they greet each other. Hi, Phil. Fucking Trump, Bush, Republicans. That's their greeting. They just need to be. And I went, San Francisco, you find out like the hippie movement was all about anger. Very angry people, the hippies. And they always need to talk about that shit. And they're chomping at the bit. They try to weave it into conversations that have nothing to do with it. That's why I put down the law in my store. I'm like, you cannot talk about politics in here. And I had a fucking whistle. I never had to use it, but I had a whistle that I swear to God I would have used. If people would like constantly talk about politics, I'd just whistle until they fucking left. Because nothing kills the vibe in a store, in a business where people are having fun, than people talking about fucking politics. I mean, that's like you're in the throes of passion with your partner. You're about to get it on. And then one of them says, oh my God, we need to go to Home Depot after this. Like right in the middle of it. Just wah, wah, wah. I can even do a sound effect for that. Yeah. Yeah, that's what talking about politics. That's what it does to your story, Hollywood. But you just, because this is their only opportunity to see, this is their platform. They see that there's other people like Tim Pool, right? Joe Rogan. Oh my God, Hollywood is so envious of Joe Rogan and how free he was. He's not really that free now, is he? But he was, and they saw it as free because most of these adult pretenders are tied into contracts. They can only speak what words they are told to speak, and they see that they are losing. That scripted entertainment is starting to lose. It's getting too expensive. It's gotten very bloated. Martin Scorsese in some ways wasn't wrong. I think both things can exist. I think you can have cinema and you can have a superhero movie, and both are fine. But you can't have a cinema when you're not making good movies. And you're not making good movies because because all of our creative talent is watching CNN all fucking day. And this is something I witnessed with my own eyes with the creatives the couple creatives that I do know. They have TVs in the corner of their rooms and they are constantly playing CNN and they're constantly watching it. Constantly. And they see pundits, they see Joe Rogans, they see other people, Clownfish brought this up. They see shitheads like me. They see shitheads, nice people like you. I was about to say shitheads, but I'm a shithead. You're not. And we're gathering around and talking, and they want to do that too, but they want to do that where they have the most power, which is on a show made by $1 trillion company. So that there's a lot of themes in The Boys, but it was anti-Second Amendment. It was about gun control. It was about gun control and capitalism. I want you to think about that just for a minute. the show produced by the most expensive company on earth, owned by the richest man on earth, is doing a dig at capitalism. I mean, it doesn't get richer than that. It's almost as rich as a guy who thinks he's a wizard complaining about adults going to a superhero movie. Thank you, Francisco Sanchez. Bless you. Stargate 404 for $5. Just started. I read that one. They couldn't help themselves. They had to have the kicking a Yahtzee scene, as if we don't know all Yahtzees are bad. This season was contrived and woke. Thank you, Stargate 404. You are correct. That's exactly what it was. Yahtzees are bad. They also do not exist in any real numbers that are ever worth any thought at all. They are not a danger to society. They are not even an annoyance to society. There are groups of them that maybe get together, but I haven't seen it. And boy, did your narrative get fucked up when the Proud Boys went out and denounced white supremacy with BLM the other day in a joint thing. See, the media has been trying to create this for a long, long time, and the media is your enemy. And we all saw what happened in Denver. We all saw that a news station hired somebody who executed a human being for pulling out pepper spray because he didn't like this person politically. He was politically bigoted. He was, I can't get in the guy's head. He was probably a little touched, but you have a lot of people who are touched, who have legitimate mental issues, and the mainstream media is scaring the hell out of them. It's stirring them up. They are the enemy of the people. I've been watching this news station. They've been tweeting. They were tweeting about the Broncos a couple of hours later. It's disgusting. That news station should be ended, in my opinion, or at least everybody involved canned. It's going to get sued out of existence, but that is how bad things have gotten, and it's the media that's created this, and Hollywood that's created this, and it's people like Eric Kripke, when they further that narrative, that make it even worse and worse. I had a super chat the other day and a follow-up email from a guy who was like legitimately asking, and he's new around these parts. Okay, we get new people all the time. That's why there's a lot of repeated information. And he asked, I am a Trump supporter. Am I welcome in fandom? Because I don't feel welcome in fandom. And I said, you're not. You're actually not. In some, you are here. You absolutely are here, along with everyone else. But no, you are not welcome in Hollywood. You're not welcome in the Star Trek fandom right now. You're not welcome in the Doctor Who fandom right now. Just because of your views on some politics, just because you support a president doesn't mean you completely agree with everything they say. But simpletons are in charge of social media right now, so they actually think like that. And that's why everything's just getting completely fucked up. And it will take a renaissance that we're going to have to create ourselves. If I thought we could, it's really up to, again, a centrist. And when I feel like Hollywood doesn't want me around, or they're just messages getting old and tired and I want to go hear something else, it's up to them to get me back. It's completely up to them to get me back. Razorfist said it in his Hollywood video. Highly recommend it. I think it's the last video he put out. You want to bail out Hollywood? Ask your audience. They're right fucking there. They're built in. They're willing to give you money. They're willing to come back. You just got to treat about half of them a lot nicer with more respect. Not saying you have to agree with them, but you have to treat them with respect. We are so fucking far away from that. I don't know if we'll ever get there. I don't know at this point. Woke propaganda, boring, poorly written, my review. Paula RL, £2.99. That is succinct, perfect. I agree. And now that we've got it in context, I can go back and pick out all the and the wokeness in this thing. Did you guys have the impression that The Boys was a smart show? I kind of did in season 1. Is it as smart as, I'm trying to think of the smartest show I've seen, like The Prisoner or something? No, not even fucking close. But it's a fairly intelligent show. It's not as smart as Battlestar Galactica was. Some moments in Doctor Who. But it was a decently smart show. This was like CW bad as far as plot contrivances. Like CW crossover bad plot contrivances. And I lost a lot. I lost a ton of respect for Eric Kripke. Now, I've never had much for Seth Rogen. I thought in the beginning, before he started getting TDS, he had the right idea. Preacher season 1, I thought was pretty decent. But then 2016 happened and it all went to shit. Again, I'll suggest 40K's Hell's Reach on YouTube. Light years better film than what's come out of Hollywood. Glad I skipped The Boys. Sad it's subpar. Jaegerbomb, you're fine. Just stick with your 40K and be happy, man. At least something isn't completely fucked up for you. At least something isn't. But as far as The Witcher is concerned, that's just disappointing as hell. And I hope it's not true. Now, I will say that somebody from the show contacted me and said it wasn't going woke. Season 2 wasn't going woke. Now, that was last year, right? It was at the end of season 1. This person was, they saw my Rotten Tomatoes video and they saw that I really liked the show. And I'll still do a review for season 1, but they contacted me. I can't divulge this person, but they said not to worry. And I wasn't worried until I heard that. So I think my theory is everything changed over the last 6 or 7 months. Those riots, those BLM riots, changed everything. Hollywood thought 2016 came back. So whatever progress was made is gone. We're back at the starting. And I don't know if Hollywood can afford it. I know you and I can. Razorfist, again, rightly so, put this in his video. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but at the end of the day, you and I are going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Some of us are going to have to find other work. And that's going to be tough, but it's possible. You can't make a new Hollywood. You can't make more pretend shows when they can't afford it. You're going to see a lot of reality shows. You're going to see Hollywood plucking, who knows? Maybe they'll pluck that girl who plays Minecraft and gets 54,000 people watching her. Maybe, by the way, no thanks. No thanks. I spent 2 years in that town. I don't ever want to fucking go back. Yeah. But they're not going to be able to afford this stuff, but we'll be okay. Oh, look, it's a Doctor Who first look. And look, she's got a jacket that kind of reminds you of Peter Capaldi and David Tennant. And that kind of reminds you, it's a member berry of old with the crosses and the things from that. Yeah, you remember that. The BBC has unveiled our first look at the upcoming Doctor Who festive special, which will bring back the Daleks once again. Will we get the female Dalek this time? I'm thinking maybe. We got really close last time. You do notice that the hair is a little different. So I guess she's allowed to change clothes in a Jadoom prison. Maybe she's Maybe she's the tank captain at the prison. Maybe she's got herself a little booty, you know? Here is the exciting picture. So festive special, which means not Christmas special. First look. Yaz sitting down at a table. Thank you. That is what she does best. Well, she's pretty good at eating marshmallows too. If you see that video on the Doctor Who YouTube channel. Yaz does have a special talent. I don't know if it's applicable in the show though. That's it. That's your first look. Thank you. Good night. Riveting. I was told I was going on one of the most popular shows in the world and the ratings fucking trash because I'm just being led around by a Karen for 45 minutes who's going to bitch to us about the environment. Dr. Karen, by the way, that's why they're changing that hairstyle, because she had a fucking Karen haircut. Oh, and white feminism. Yes, that is sticking in the head of the BBC right now, because this is white fem. Bill Burr roasted that on fucking Saturday Night Live. I love it. He said, I don't agree with everything he says, but he says, woke was about representation. And I don't know what all the white women ran in front and made themselves victims. Yep. Brie Larson, such a victim. Wonder how a YouTube channel is doing. Yeah, there's your first look at Doctor Who. I saw the panel. It was fucking nothing. It did nothing. There was nothing in it. Nothing worth talking about other than Doctor Who. They don't talk a lot about Doctor Who. But I will be covering that episode. I think I'll have a Doctor Who video out soon. Wait, Yahtzees are bad? Yes, Lady Gravemaster, apparently, according to the boys, just in case you weren't sure, Yahtzees are bad. Specifically, the ones who were in uniform with the little skulls or the little S's or the little squiggly lines. Not, I was told one time I had to be specific because I said bad guys from Germany in the 30s. Yes, they are bad. Racism is bad. Killing is bad. It's also bad? Being blinded by your partisanship where you can't see what the real danger is. I can't imagine being that blinded at all. That's why so many of my friends, they've lost me. They've completely lost me. The blues and the left has lost me. I was a very sympathetic ear. I never fully went on that side. I don't go on any side really. But I had a sympathetic ear to it once in a while when I actually gave a shit, but it mostly kind of left me alone. I paid my exorbitant taxes in California and I went about my merry business. And you know what? I'm partially to blame for all this. I am. I take responsibility for not paying enough attention. I got distracted. I got comfortable. I didn't pay attention who my city council people were, who my county supervisors were, who my motherfucking dog catcher was, and who my mayor was. And I was not aware of how much power they actually had. And I used to not care about my governor and lieutenant governor. All that has changed. All that has changed. I care deeply. I have my, where is it? It's right over here. I got to make sure I don't display my address here. My voter's guide that I'm going to read twice, cover to cover. Now I'm going to need a magnifying glass because the letters are really small. But yeah, I don't know what your voting guide is in your state, but It is, I love when people say, this is the most consequential election in years, as opposed to those really unconsequential elections. Okay, we did have one, Mondale versus Reagan, which, by the way, is this one right now. I'm trying to be as objective as humanly possible on this. There is no fucking way Biden should be leading in the polls. There's no way. There's no visual evidence of that. We've already seen enough. It reminds me a lot of Mondale versus Reagan. I don't care who you like. You got to be real with this stuff. I mean, like, people get so wrapped up into it. I mean, like, again, I don't. But holy shit. But I'm going to go through this because you know who affects me directly? My local politicians, not Washington. My local politicians. I live in a state right now that has companies like Yelp who want to fuck businesses over more. For one, I fucking hate Yelp. I've always hated Yelp. Yelp was built to extort the small business man and woman, and that's exactly what it did. And they were busted a few years ago, basically with extortion. They were hiding bad reviews. If you paid them more money, they got straight up fucking caught. And by the way, I got an email telling me that's exactly what they would do from somebody at Yelp. My wife was one of the earliest customers. I was pretty early as well. I talked to a lot of people there when it was, we talked to like people directly involved in its construction, and we found out what kind of bullshit it was. Let me give you a little story about Yelp real quick. I'm going to go on a little tangent here. I had to kick, in the 10 years I was at the comic shop, I kicked out maybe 8 people, because they were being like utterly obnoxious pieces of shit that only cared about themselves, didn't care about my kids or my customers or my employees or anything. I'm a pretty understanding person. I will always listen to the customer. I will not argue with them, even if I know there's times where a mom came in, said her kid broke a toy, and instead of saying my kid broke the toy, she lied to me and said the toy broke, even though it was out of the package and stuff. I gave her money back, whatever. I felt bad for the kid because if his mom's willing to lie over something small like that, he's in for a bad journey. But you know what? I just let it go because I'm not going to sit there fucking argue over $7 fucking bucks. That's kind of, it's kind of how I handled things in the shop. I chose my battles. We had one guy who liked to come in and special order anime action figures. All right. These things, in some cases, did not have clothes, which is fine. It was anything I'm going to put on my shelf, but I will special order anything for one of my customers. No problem. But he was really high maintenance. All right. So he'd pay up front, and then he'd constantly, call and bug me if they come in yet. And anime figures just take a long time to come in. They're what's called in the Diamond catalog a caution 4. Caution 4 means you can order this and you'll get it when you get it. It could be a year from now. It could be 20 years from now. But you're obligated to get it, and we're going to send it to you whenever it comes in. So the stuff would come in late, whatever. He'd always complain. He'd always come in. He wouldn't be that bad to me, but he would be like horribly bad to my employees. Like horribly bad. And, my employees would complain, and then I saw it. And I mean, he was a foul human being. Foul human being. So when he called my manager, by the way, like lay off retail people. Jeremy says it all the time, and I can't echo that enough. They're just there doing their job. They're not the punching bag. They're not there to receive your anger. I know things are frustrating, but remember, they're people too. So my manager is a member of the alphabet community, and he called him the F word in the alphabet community right in front of me. So I showed him out the door. And I put up with weird things from this guy. This guy used to like to, in the store, back at my pinball machine, If there wasn't kids there, I would let him lay out his newspaper and paint his figures, because he painted his figures. I didn't know what the fuck he was painting. He was just painting. I wasn't paying attention. I had no idea he was painting pubic hair onto these fucking figures. Didn't know till I found out afterwards. That kind of guy. Yeah. He became a Yelp elite member within a week. Assholes like that who would go in, yell at employees, say, the very definition of homophobic shitheads like that, was a Yelp elite member. And he ripped my store. He ripped my wife's salon. He ripped my friend's store. And he was on this fucking vendetta because I kicked him out of the store because he called my manager an F word, but he became a Yelp. That's what fucking Yelp is. Fuck fucking Yelp. And now they're coming out and saying, well, we're going to mark what store as racist or we're not. That is fucking dangerous beyond belief. And every business, you know what? And this is so tailor-made for something like fucking San Francisco. It really is. And it's such fucking bullshit. And I can't, Yelp is dying anyway, and it can't die fast enough. I hope this fucking kills it. But I saw that and I went, God, fucking Yelp. They were out of my mind for a while. I was so, like, the one thing being out of business was I don't have to deal with motherfucking Yelp. I get a bad review because I had to, at the last minute, come down to San Diego. I had to shut my store down. Melissa's dad had a major heart attack, was getting a quadruple bypass. I had to fucking get in a plane and fly out, and I fucking land. And you know what I land to? A fucking Yelp review of some guy bitching that I was closed on Monday, even though my sign was right there saying, father-in-law had a heart attack. Sorry. Gave me a fucking 1 star. Fuck Yelp. Hail Gary. Wondering if you can show Graham Nolan some love. Getting his YouTube channel going helps support an independent comic creator. Dr. Mask for $4.99. Yeah, I'll give Graham Nolan some love. Certainly. Does Eric K. Are you out there? Eric or Mark Lerzeth, one of you two, if you have a moment, or problem being, could you put Graham Nolan's link into the chat, please? If you guys have a second. I love the Nerdrotics. Thank you very much. It's a thankless job. They do it for nothing. And I could not do this without them. And welcome to the new wrench. Problem being, doing a great job. Doing a fucking fantastic job. Release the Picard review. Fabio Carrera for $5. I was up until 6 in the morning working on the Picard review because I'm really trying to get it out before Star Trek Discovery comes out. Will it happen? I honestly don't know right now. At the very least, it'll be the weekend. It'll be in the weekend. I don't know. Let me give you an example of, like, the Lord of the Rings one was done. And then I wanted to add a clip. So I didn't even know. I spent 3 fucking hours looking for the part where it goes, no, getting those clips together. And I essentially got them all from one video, but I was looking through tons of videos looking for the right kind of horrific no. I forgot how, I love Tobey Maguire. I love Spider-Man 2, but his scream right before the wall collapses on Mary Jane is just, that's so good. I'm going to use it in every fucking video. I love it. Fabio Carrera, I love your passion. And I straight up, I am going to thank you in the video, Fabio. Swear to God. Timothy Wolf for $3.99. Thanks for the great streams. Hail Gary. Thank you, Tim Wolf. Thank you guys for the great streams. Thank you for being here. I love you so much. Big Worm for $5. Hail, excited to see the Expanse trailer with Cass Anvar. Was worried they Me Too'd him out of existence. So pumped for the season. Looks good. Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper, Big Worm for $5. Yes, the trailer looked good. It is based on a very good book. Will this show go woke? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think so. I think I have a lot of respect for Naren Shankar, the showrunner. I certainly know what his politics are. They like lightly went into him it's been a year since the New York Comic-Con panel. They briefly talked about it, and they've said what we've been saying is like, this is how you do honest diversity. Like, this isn't about virtue signaling. This is about adapting a book, being accurate to the characters, giving the characters some context. Now, have they leaned into it a little bit because it's current year? Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, but it doesn't derail things. The first 2 seasons of this show are fucking genius. Naren Shankar worked with Star Trek. He's worked with Farscape. And honestly, when he's done with The Expanse, that's who should be running Star Trek, period. Get fucking Alex Kurtzman. I would back up a Brinks truck because obviously CBS Viacom Paramount Plus has the money. Get that guy in there when he's done with The Expanse. That being said, could season 5 be woke? Yes. Now, the writers, apparently Doomcock put up a tweet saying, hey, give the show a chance. I don't think it's going to be woke, and they like the tweet. But I would respond, a lot of people in Hollywood who are really, really, really woke think they're in the middle. So it depends. It depends. But the show's trajectory has always been taking the best bits out of the books and leaving out some of the worst bits. And there's a lot more worst bits in the books as time goes on. The first 5 are excellent. But then 2016 happened. You could go down the line. A book series, a TV series, a comic book series. It's on a pretty good trajectory. Hollywood was on a pretty good trajectory as far as streaming service, TV shows. 2016 happens, and it all goes to shit. Absolute shit. Like overnight. And honestly, this stuff usually goes for like a decade to think about it. As far as trends go, there's 10-year cycles and there's 20-year cycles. And we're in the middle of a 10-year cycle. Vibranium or adamantium knives will do it. Oh, you mean stab a Stormfront in the eye? Sure. Yeah. Jaegerbomb for $5. Thanks, Eric K. You're not supposed to super chat. What is up with Hollywood's crapping on men? I know I asked, but honestly, what the fuck? Carlists needed a new bourgeoisie so men could fit the bill. Some total bullshit. Yeah, well, no, this is about intersectional feminism. Powerful men are bad, and they are the cause of all of our problems in the world. And not saying they aren't cause of some problems, a lot of problems, because they've been in control. So they got to take the responsibility too. I absolutely agree. But there's a mindset out there that if a lot of space hippies, I like UFOs. I'm involved in the UFO community a little bit. There's a lot of fucking space star hippies, right? Who think that the mother goddess, the feminine, that basically if we had a matriarchy, things would be better and more peaceful. No. Men, I can be an asshole. Men can be assholes. Obviously. So can women. I think we're pretty equal. I like the egalitarian thing. I think once we eventually figure out how to just work together as individuals and just respect each other as individuals and work together, egalitarian is the only way to go, baby. But you're not going to get that. Not in Hollywood anytime soon. Hellrats 96 for $5. Skin seems bulletproof only. It was the same thing for translucent. Insides are soft. I guess eyes count as insides. That one makes sense. I think maybe if they just cleared it up, it's not a huge deal. I think it's just one thing. The thing I had the biggest problem with, okay, we're going to put aside the woke, because the woke was done. I thought the show was smart. It turns out it's not that smart. It turns out I was giving it a little too much credit. It's not as dumb as a CW show or Star Trek or anything like that, but it's not smart. It's not like Breaking Bad. It's not Better Call Saul smart. That's a fucking smart show. That is the smartest show on TV, in my opinion, that I've watched. I might have missed a couple, but it's not like dark smart. And quite frankly, the comic book's smarter. It really is. Because Garth Ennis is a smart dick. I don't like Garth. I like his writing a lot. I do. Oh, American Knight Rider. I forgot to hang on. Let me check my Gmail. See if you there it is right there. Awesome. Thanks, bud. So here is real quick. Here is his Indiegogo. I will American Knight Rider put this in here earlier. Looks good, dude. When did your campaign start? Did it just start today? Bowen Productions. Awesome. Well, there you go. All right, I'm gonna put this in here in the link. Go check it out if you like. And where? Oh my God! Come on, Boomer. Fucking A. There we go. Here's the link to the Indiegogo. So go check it out. And it's called. The Massacre on Route 66. 83 slasher novel. A vengeful, crazed sister, her undead brother, and the southwestern Route 66 in the United States. A fucking road I'm planning to travel very, very soon. I'm so excited. Hopefully I could bring Junior. I figure since he's like doing school online, we could find a way around that. God, don't let him hear the say. It's fucking useless, that school. I don't know how kids are doing anything with that. But I love this road, by the way. I know it's like really, trendy. But driving the American Southwest, there's nothing better. There's absolutely nothing better in this world. As far as driving is concerned. There are technically other things. But thanks, dude. Good job. Good luck with the book. Douglas Nelson, didn't Enterprise establish a temporal Cold War? Star Trek Discovery could utilize that for, never mind, Kurtzman never saw this a second of Star Trek. No, he didn't, Douglas. You are correct. Chris Persia for 10 Canadian pesos. Kurtzman fully attached to Star Trek Prodigy, now bringing us old man Janeway to mentor those troubled teens and that derelict ship they find. Welcome to Kurtzman's Batman Beyond ripoff. Star Trek homage. You noticed that Janeway was never part of this show until recently. They had to, this is just my opinion. The show sucked and they needed to bring in something to hook Star Trek fans because I'm guessing the test screenings were absolute shit. And that's when you get Janeway all of a sudden announced in a show that was announced two years ago. They can do what they want. The best thing Kurtzman has produced is something he wasn't directly involved in, a shitty cartoon with shitty art that essentially shits on Star Trek. And poor Star Trek fans. You're just fucked. Listen, there's the non-confrontational people out there who's kind of the majority. People like, I don't want to name anybody by name. There's channels out there that just want to talk about their ships and their schematics. Go ahead and do that. You can do that and still be honest with your audience. See, you know how your audience can tell you're not being honest with them? When you're trying to rationalize the shit you're watching all the time. Well, it was always like that. When people are complaining about something and saying it's not Star Trek, and your first knee reaction is to go to like one weird instance of gore and say it was always like that, that's not a defense of your show. Because the people are saying this doesn't feel like Star Trek. And constantly telling people that they don't know what Star Trek is doesn't really invite them to your fandom. And these are the motherfuckers who whinge about gatekeeping. And then they're constantly insulting people who say, you know what? I've watched Star Trek for decades. It doesn't feel like Star Trek. You know, I might not be a lore expert. I'm like, you know, most of your average Star Trek fan is not a lore expert. They've seen a lot of the episodes, but they're not lore experts. That is a very small fringe percentage, which we appreciate, we love, we need the hardcore fans like that. But guess what? You're not that inviting. Star Trek isn't that inviting anymore. The fandom that is around for this show is nasty. And if they spent half their time complaining about us. Why don't you talk about how good your show is, the one you're defending so much? Why are you just wasting your time on us? Because you're upset your show sucks. And you don't know where to direct that. And you can't be honest with yourself because you've got so much of your identity wrapped into it. Don't. It's okay to love something and not have your identity wrapped up into it. It's not healthy. And I'm saying that as a man sitting in a room surrounded by thousands of action figures. But here's the difference. I like these things. They're fun. They're part of my studio. There's a story to every single one. And these are kind of the whole leftovers of my store. But if I lose one, I'll live. Or I would sell one if somebody want. I mean, like I'd have no like spiritual attachment to stuff like that. It's stuff. It's basically here for the studio. And I love Doctor Who, and I went through that heartbreak, and now while I'm angry about it, I have made my peace with Doctor Who being over forever. And I'm just going to, I'm going to get back at the BBC a little bit because I took it personal. But someday I'll just move on and never talk about it again. Or I'll talk about old Doctor Who with my friends. And I think a lot of people have gotten there with Star Trek. So what you have left are, this season, my approach to Star Trek Discovery will be to laugh. Will be just like, let's laugh together. Let's see how bad it can actually get. And if some miracle happens and it's good, wow. Okay. Michelle Paradise, you did it. But I have a feeling that's not going to happen. But I do have a feeling, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But I will be honest, if it turns out to be good, then great. I don't expect that though. Considering what I saw from Michelle Paradise last year, she wrote the final 2 episodes of season 2, which were the dumbest episodes of the season. So there you go. Thanks for understanding about my Robin action figure OCD. You should see my house. Hope the 2 Avenger DVDs made it in safely from San Francisco to San Diego. Therapeutic. Peppermint oil capsule. They did, and I'll probably watch them this weekend and look for, I don't know if you're on my Patreon or not. If not, then I'll probably eventually put it on Nerdrotic Live. But I am finally getting around to watching those. So, yes, and you're welcome. I have a giant Robin Mego. Diamond Comics Distributors, or Diamond Collectible Toys, made something very fucking cool. They made 18-inch Mego figures. They're fucking awesome. So they're boxed Megos, and they're this big. I have only one out of the box right now. It's the Riddler. But he was talking about the Robin. That Robin, I'm going to take him out of the box. I've had him in the box. Fuck that. I'm going to take him out of the box and display him. They're brilliant. Did you guys see this, though? I dusted this bitch off. Sorry, ladies. It's been a long time since I saw it. But my practice bass, I have a Rickenbacker. I also have like a piece of shit Ibanez bass that I play. That's what I play all the time. I don't play the expensive bass that I bought many moons ago. I love how it plays, but it's just easier to play the Ibanez $100 one, when I'm fucking around, because it's got a smaller neck. I don't know, bore you with it. I crushed my hand and all this shit. So it's harder for me to play bass than the normal guy, because I have numbness in my hand and stuff. But because I'm moving, I'm dusting off stuff that I haven't seen in a long time, including. Wait, wrong way. Here. There we go. The Explorer. The Gibson Explorer. I mean, it doesn't play as well as a Rickenbacker, but it looks fucking awesome. It looks so awesome. I was like, I haven't seen that thing in years. Yeah. Love that thing. I've been having some fun. It's not all bad. But as far as your OCD is concerned, peppermint oil capsule, somebody said I had a touch of it, but if I did, my shit would be alphabetical or in chronological order. I mean, right now it's random. I like the randomness of it. Herlatz 96 for $5. Remember when TNG predicted the death of television early 21st century? Guess they saw the woke coming. They did. They did. I'm surprised the Simpsons didn't predict it either, but they probably did. I haven't seen every Simpsons episode. The Let's Stomp the Yahtzee scene with the Glitz versus Stormfront was an Antifa wet dream. I had to take breaks in this dog shit finale, says Das Pooch for $5. And yeah, I had to watch it in pieces. No, it was, see, this is how it, see, their attitude is, well, you shouldn't be offended if you're not a Nazi. But it's way more nuanced than that. It really is, because they think everybody's a Nazi. They think we all are secretly in Discord groups planning something. But what this is really about, what it's really about is the loss of power. You're watching the mainstream media in Hollywood lose power. And I'm not saying, it's like they're still powerful entities that can crush people. But they always have to have more and more and more and more. And they're losing it now. And even if it's in incremental steps, little pieces, it's enough to drive them insane. And it's glorious. It's absolutely fucking glorious. Nathaniel Larson for $5. Gary, watching Army of Darkness and listening to you. Good night. Ash is a boss. I fucking love the end of that movie. I want to watch it. I need to find my Ash figure. I got my Ash versus Evil Dead one. You might be able to see it. Yeah, there it is. Right there. It's in the box. It's sitting on some DVDs. This thing is almost done, folks. I need to work on that wall, plug that machine in, and put a table in the middle. There's still some stuff. That's my pinball machine. You can see my hat. It's a male. Real sexy. All right. Star Trek Discovery sounds like Andromeda being ripped off a bit. Gary Tomlinson for £2. They're absolutely ripping off Andromeda. This is Alex Kurtzman. He has no original ideas. He doesn't know shit about science fiction or genre or fandom. He is an up-jumped soap opera writer and a dude who used to get coffee for fucking Sam Raimi. And like nothing from Sam Raimi rubbed off on Kurtzman. That's how little talent he has. He was in the room with Sam Raimi, which I think makes all human beings better, and it didn't work on Alex Kurtzman. Now I fucking adore Sam Raimi. He's like one of my favorite all-time directors. I still think he would probably be the best choice to direct any superhero film of your choice. He is the most versatile. Like J.J. Abrams is a fucking hack. Do you know how good a Justice League Dark film would be directed by Sam Raimi? Do you know how good a Superman film would be directed by Sam Raimi? Do you know how good a Batman film would be directed by Sam Raimi? Do you know how good a Green Lantern film would be directed by Sam Raimi? He could direct The Flash. He could direct Wonder Woman. He could direct Martian Manhunter. He could direct Constantine. He could direct The Swamp Thing, The Man Thing, Deathlock, Ghost Rider. He could do it all. And he doesn't get work anymore. I don't understand. Maybe he doesn't want to work. You know, listen, and yeah, he sold out a couple times, and you know, he did Oz and but like Drag Me to Hell was a PG-13 movie. It was a fucking good movie. The first episode, he directed the first episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead and kind of oversaw that whole season. That was genius. Everybody gushes over Cobra Kai, and you should. It's good. It's fun. It's not as good as Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 1. Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 1 is the absolute best way you bring back a property, showing respect to older characters and bringing in new, interesting characters that we actually give a shit about. Kelly and Pablo are brilliant. Gary Tomlinson, thank you. Cerebral Cortex, welcome to the proto-molecule level. Hail. I put up something for it's for the Gandalf level though. I was like, I put up a video for the Gandalf level last night. It's a 3-minute video. It was one I was going to put out and decided not to. Yes. Yeah. Truthy Magoo for $5. You subbed me on Tug's live stream. Wanted to thank you. You're welcome, man. Of course. We're all in this together. Truthy Magoo, even the frenemies out there, we're all in this together. Oh, by the way, Darth Gorbag for 1111 does something I should have done earlier. I denounce white supremacy. I denounce black supremacy. I denounce the patriarchy and the matriarchy. I support equality and meritocracy. I treat people like people. Absolutely. Well said. Eric K for $5. Remember the author. See, now you're fucking with me, Eric K. Remember the author, Arthur Conan Doyle estate is suing Netflix over the portrayal of Sherlock Holmes and Enola Holmes. No shit, really? They are? Can they do that? Do they still have rights over that character? I thought it was eminent domain, right? Is that the right? Like it's copyright free. Like I could write a story about Sherlock Holmes, right? No, maybe not. I know some characters are. I know Alan Moore. See, Alan Moore loves to take characters like that and then complain about other companies stealing characters and not. Did Alan Moore give the Arthur Conan Doyle estate any money? Did he? Did he give Bram Stoker their estate any money? I don't remember hearing that, Alan Moore. Rewatch Greatest American Heroes. I'm loving it, says Edward Maidment for $2. I love that show. Believe it or not. Shinra's Demise for $5. Geralt is going to have an out-of-body experience and broke back himself. Wow. That's deep. He's probably... yeah. They're going to sideline. He's going to be in a third of the series. They're going to put him in enough to keep people watching. And it's at first, here's what's going to happen. Here's how things go down in fandom now. And this is why, And it's not just because they were making the video and talking about Friday Night Tights. Aside from that, I want you to, close your eyes and listen to the Clownfish TV review where they're talking about the access media is dead. It's done. People are now officially going to, I'll say this, we are going to each other for news now. We are going to each other. Have you noticed Fandom Menace channels, for the most part, have really stopped doing videos on articles? Once in a while when they're egregious. But we used to have so many egregious articles to do from Forbes and Scotty Mendelson. You could count on a couple a day, right? From a Forbes article or CBR or Bleeding Cool. And you're not seeing it as much. Has the access media gotten better? No. There's not enough of them out there. We're seeing a lot less articles because they fired a lot of people. Like, we're not getting it because we beat them. If we want to claim victory for one thing, and this is the one enemy that I set out to fight from the get-go. Sure, I want to give it to the man and the woman, Kathleen Kennedy, Jar Jar Abrams, Rand Johnson, Alex Kurtzman, Chris Chibnall, all those motherfuckers. But it's the access media that really started this fight. And we beat the shit out of them. Scotty Mendelson's like the last man standing. He's out there, kind of beat up and still spurging out these fucking retarded takes. But that's what we love Scotty for. And he's going to go down like Spurgeon. Scotty's going to go down Spurgeon, kind of twitching out like Tweak. And that's who we beat. That's who we beat. And we're going to each other more. Nerdist, Collider, they're gone. They're gone. Even Kevin Smith doesn't get that many people in his live streams because he doesn't fucking say anything. They read the news and he goes, dude, that's awesome. And then he cries or something. Remember when he was the man of the people, the nerd of the people? And then I watched his live stream and he says, not that he ever did the day-to-day at his comic shop, but you think he would be more tuned seeing that, his comic shop was on a TV show? He had no fucking idea that Diamond shut down. Right? Yeah. Will Wheaton was never a nerd. Isn't it interesting finding that out? That he's just a big fucking normie. Like, he wears like sweaters and beige and fucking rolls his pants up when he walks on the beach with like his little dog. He's like an LA normie. Hangs out in Silver Lake. Listens to like the fucking Silver Sun pickups. I'm dating myself. Shit like that. That's what Will Wheaton is. Disney wanted Mark Hamill to say the same thing about Star Wars that Cavill said about Witcher. Says Flicks by Cody for $5. Let me read that again. So Disney wanted Mark Hamill to say the same thing about Star Wars that Cavill said about Witcher. You mean be more diplomatic? I think Hamill was as diplomatic as he possibly have. Mark Hamill is, I have the greatest sympathy for him for what happened to his character up until a certain point. You can quit. You can quit. There is nothing that contractually obligates you to work in something you absolutely just fucking can't stand. You can give your money back. That's part of quitting. You can get the money back that you took or you were going to earn. Or if you haven't earned that money yet, if it was based on you can quit. There is nothing that locks you into anything forever. You might suffer a little bit of a penalty. You might have to go through a little bit of litigation, but Mark Hamill could have walked off the set and never gone back, and they would have had to bend the knee to him because he's motherfucking Luke Skywalker, and he didn't do it. And you know what? Actors do that shit all the time, or they used to. They don't do that anymore. Michael Keaton turned down Batman, and it essentially ended his career. I mean, he stuck around. He did some Jackie Brown stuff, but he wasn't a big star anymore. He disappeared for a little while. He did. He was in some stuff, some flops. Showed up in Jackie Brown. That was pretty cool. But that was kind of it for him. He fucking turned it down. I mean, actors used to do that shit. They used to pay for it too. Azure Panda for $20. Like with lab rats, they are trying to figure out the smallest amount of reward they need to give the audience in order to get them to eat the poison. How much Cavill will get you to watch it? Watching plus complaint equals money anyway. Exactly. It doesn't matter because season 3 doesn't matter. Legacy doesn't matter. We just need as many people to watch this show now, and we'll worry about tomorrow because that's how Netflix does things. There is no season 3 of Witcher. And honestly, if you look at The Boys, they could have ended it with that. If it wasn't for the AOC thing, they could have flat out ended it and it would have been an ending. And I think that might have been tagged on. Maybe. Not sure. Probably not. But yeah, we don't know. We're not going to get 7 seasons of The Witcher now. I was thinking we might get like 5 or 6, and this could be a big show. But hearing what I heard, nope. 3, maybe 4 seasons, which would be a hit as far as Netflix is concerned. And it's a forgettable show. That sucks. But I guess we'll find out. They're filming full steam ahead. I haven't heard any coof problems with that set. I don't know where they're filming though. Probably are they filming in Eastern Europe on that one? Because if they are, yeah, they're probably just fine. There's probably no coof over there because Eastern Europe and up in Sweden, they've been okay because they didn't lock their fucking people down. Michael Childers, welcome to the Protomolecule level. Hail. Apple Emmy's Minion for $5. Here's a few dollars to help you with your move for keeping the lights on. Thank you for both. Next video, why I'm leaving California. The land I was born. The land my kids were born. Never thought I'd leave the state. Love the state. I used to make fun of other people because they weren't in California. Yes, and I enjoyed it. This state used to be brilliant. Brilliant. There was a time in my lifetime where if a tax bill came up, fucking California would shoot that thing down faster than a Texan. They would. Like, there wasn't a tax law that you could fucking pass. Remember, Proposition 13, and this is when the Democrats were in power in the 70s. And they shot that down. They're about to fucking get rid of it. That's it. That's fucking it. I mean, like, I'm out at that point. Proposition 13 keeps the state from taxing homes and businesses into oblivion. And they're about to get rid of it because you want to know how many Republican state senators we have? I think it's somewhere around the neighborhood of 16 out of 60, out of 70. 16. Although if you look at a map of California, large portions of it are red. But they redistributed and redistricted. Once the Democrats got in power, they rearranged the districts to benefit themselves. One party rule. And now I see, like, oh my God, that dumbass on TikTok talking about how we need to have one party. But you're complaining about fascism. How do you complain about fascism and tyranny and want one party? How do you get that stupid? Like, seriously. At that point, I recommend drugs. Right-wingers like you are the only ones who care if the atmosphere becomes political. Says Mar Storytime for $5. I'm not a right-winger. And of course you wouldn't care if you no, it's left-wingers like you that don't care that if your show is too left. And hyper political people, of course, love that shit. It's confirmation bias. But thank you for the $5. I don't hear people asking for right-wing politics. I think they're asking for neutrality. Show both sides. That's what I'm for. That's why I'm not a right-winger nor a left-winger. You see, I think for myself, and I don't require my political scorecard to be filled out for me. I will decide each issue individually as it affects my life. There are some things I could give two entire fucks about because it doesn't affect my life at all. And I only have so much energy. But Mar Storytime, then it must be great for you. You must be heaven. It must be heaven watching Hollywood. I can see you being like Homelander at the end of Boys Season 2, watching like The West Wing or something like that. Handmaiden's Tale. Wes Moody webcast. Like, again, I don't mind the politics being in there if it was even-handed. Again. The boys went the way of Westworld. Ugh, it did. Not as bad. Wes Moody webcast. Check out his channel for $2. Not as bad. But I would say they'll feel that effect next season. Because you know what? They had everybody. It was a huge mistake. And they don't care. They don't care. They don't care because in their eyes, they just got rid of a bunch of bigots. I want lots of guns so I can be like Billy Butcher, says Donut Swan for $2. You mean buy a bunch of guns and then never use them? I can't own a gun, so I don't know. I don't have a right to defend myself anymore. I don't have a right to vote or defend myself. Can I sound like a victim? Can I do it? Can I do it? I've been on the straight and narrow for the most part. I've been on the straight and narrow since 1993. Since December 7th, 1993. When I walked out of Folsom, I've been on the straight and narrow. Maybe a couple speeding tickets. Haven't been arrested. I haven't done anything wrong. Defended myself a couple of times when I almost got assaulted, but that wasn't breaking the law. That wasn't breaking. One time a knife was pulled on me. I was in my rights to do what I did. Have not used a gun, by the way. And long story short, I got a new knife. But that being said, I can't own a gun. I can't own a firearm. Not allowed forever. Forever and ever. And my crime wasn't totally violent. Like there was nobody directly involved. I didn't hurt anybody. It was a like theft drug crime, but like technically it's called violent. It's so therefore I could maybe get a pardon, but I think even if you get a pardon, you don't get your Second Amendment rights back. Now my wife can get a gun, but that's no fun for me. I want to go shoot shit, at the range and stuff, which you can still do, but it's a little risky. Watch Tim Pool's videos about UFOs that came out today for Exozone. No shit. There's UFO news today. Nathaniel Larson. There was UFO news today. Hang on. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's right. Johnny Rotten goes full MAGA. Oh boy. Yeah, I just checked my email. Oh, there's a lot to go over. Yeah, I didn't know. So I'll check it out later. I will watch it for Exozone for Thursday. Thank you, Nathaniel, for $5. Bird of Prey. Oh shit, I went way over time today. Man, we've had 3,000 people like for almost 2 hours straight. That's brilliant. Watch Tim Pool's video about UFOs that came out today for Exozone. I will check it out. I might even do a video on it myself. I am backed up. I don't know. I'm probably going to do a quick video on that Witcher thing because like nobody's talking about it. Lady Greymaster found that. I think Lady Greymaster, were you listening to that podcast and you just heard it? Let me know. The Nerdrotic logo on the microphone is backwards. It's not backwards. Unless it's twisted, it might be. I mean, is that affecting your OCD, Bird of Prey? Is it affecting your OCD? There you go. Is that better? Don't want to trigger you or anything, pal. Kapla. Hilarious, man, says Circular X Fix. Thank you for the $4.99. No, you're hilarious. Mr. Tickle Trunk for 20 Canadian pesos. Can't wait for for Yelp to get yelped for being a Oasis company. I know, we should hit them. Jonathan Aldridge, thank you for the super chat. Sorry about the retracted message. Thank you for the £5. Jonathan Aldridge for £5. What happened to the land of the free and the home of the brave, Gary? Is the anti-white only Californians, or is the anti-white only Californians, or is it now all of America? It's mostly big cities. So most of the Antifa, anti-white sentiment is coming from urban Democratic areas like San Francisco. But San Francisco actually is surprisingly peaceful for the most part. But as comparative to Seattle and Portland. But it's Seattle, Portland, parts of Wisconsin, Washington, D.C., New York City, L.A. There was a riot last night because their sports ball team won a championship, so they injured cops. LeBron James is a punk. But California is most of the problem. And that problem is going to spread like a fucking cancer throughout this country. So California needs to fix itself immediately. And one thing has become very clear. The people, the Democrats who are not hardcore Bernie bros, who are more classic liberal Democrats, are recognizing that like shit has gone too far. Like they're actually coming out and saying it, like shit has gone too far. People dying, homeless everywhere. Fucking our tax rate is ridiculous. And we have put a bunch of fucking dangerous morons in office, and they need to get out. There's going to be a culling in the mid-year elections with the mayors and shit. Oof, it's going to be a bloodbath, and it'll be great to see. Larry, how is it popping heads? How is popping heads a superpower? I want to know. Yeah, it's not. Then she should win. She wins. If she can pop any head she wants, then she fucking wins. Crow T Robot from Satellite of Love. I realize I'm late to the ball, but what the heck was the woman's motive for blowing up people's heads in the boys? She works for Vought. She works for Vought. That's her motivation. Used to have a punk band called the Drunk Junkies. Straight white male for 2 Canadian pesos. That's fucking awesome. That is brilliant. Jonathan Aldridge for $5. Gary, I'm hoping for the day when we get a new United Nations and have to declare that no Earth citizen can answer for the crimes of their race or forebearer. Yeah, Still, I'm not going to. They can try all they want, but honestly, I don't know who most of my forebearers are. And I wasn't here. I wasn't here 60 years ago. So anything prior to 1969, well, I only take responsibility for my actions. I'm not going to blame, are we going to go down that road? I don't think we want to go down that road because we can go down history and we'll find out that everybody had a despicable past as far as races are concerned. There's no angelic race that didn't persecute and enslave somebody. With regards to New Trek, when you constantly have to rationalize, you are rationing lies to yourself and those around you. Orville Nation. Thank you, brother. Swinging Cod for $5. Gibson SG with the double humbuckers is the only way to go. Rock out with your rooster out. Yeah. Swinging Cod. How much better would entertainment be today if John Milius had never had his stroke? Rome might still be on and King Conan may have already been made. Yeah, dude. Rome was fucking... I need to buy that. Again, TV was so good just a few years ago. Ah, man, I know. I thought. See, so is John Miles? Is he's not able to work now because of his stroke? I'm checking it right now. He's a fucking genius, man. Milius, this is why I like him. He's a Zen anarchist. Bless his heart. TK not at post for $20. Here's to beating the shit out of the Access Media. Fuck yeah. Oh my God. That's the one victory we can take is like Rich Johnston going broke. I mean, Rich Johnston, his articles are now going to be the size of, remember a thing called a postage stamp, kids? That's what his articles are going to look like. And it's going to, his website will break supercomputers. It might actually be deployed as a weapon in China. Like we could make Bleeding Cool available in China and then it could crash everybody's computer from the communist Chinese government, especially the ones that like create viruses that destroy countries and stuff and things and the camps you have to concentrate in, shit like that. But I'm not supposed to mention that. Whoops. Hail Gary, FYI, I was able to join Az's channel today with my iOS by following a link that he put in the description of his video. That must be the way how I joined Doomcock's channel and RMB's. Yeah, I could put a link in for the memberships, I think. Hang on. Yeah, I can't find it for right now. But if hang on. Yeah, I can't access my own membership. Yeah, maybe if Eric K can grab it, he can put it in the or one of the mods can probably grab it and put it in, but I don't have access to my own memberships. But yeah, JPRPH1, if that's, if you could join that way, that'd be great. If you can't, I understand. I don't understand why YouTube won't work with iOS. Because they're fucking idiots. And it's proprietary bullshit from Apple. I mean, for Christ's sake, don't get a fucking, don't get an iPhone for one. Get an Android. It's one thing I'll agree with Jeremy on 100%. Galaxy Note. It's all about the Galaxy Note. Christian Bale would have got those Last Jedi rewrites. You're right, Donut Swan. You are correct. And Christian Bale's an international treasure. Eric Stoller, thank you for the cupper. I appreciate it for $4. Mark C. for $5. If you come to Louisiana, I'll take you to the range. I have a SIG 9mm that will take your hair off. Nat's Head. Oh, fuck yeah. I'll go by. Louisiana's very close to Texas, buddy. Donut Swan for $2. I wish it was LeBron and not Kobe in that helicopter. Ooh. Would it be bad if I say I wouldn't argue with you? Let me put it this way. I really wish Kobe's daughter wasn't in that helicopter, for one. And Kobe wasn't in that helicopter. And I wish I curse LeBron with gratitude. I curse him with gratitude, which means he's going to have to get humbled before you get grateful, because you cannot do one before the other. You will get humbled before you get grateful. So I will curse LeBron James with gratitude, something he lacks. Didn't he say he's afraid for his life in this country after getting free police escorts that he shouldn't have gotten on the taxpayer dime, and then he bought a $20-something million mansion in the country that oppresses him? Yeah. For playing with his balls? Alls I could say to all the rich people rooting on all the division stuff, you better hope to God there's people like me and in this chat who hold this system together, because if it falls apart, you guys, eat the rich is a saying. It's a saying for a reason. The Hiking Viking for $10. PSA, progressives are libertarian leftists. Identity politics, gatekeeping, etc. are hallmarks of the authoritarian left. This is a division worth being aware of. Sincerely, a Rust Belt progressive. Well, I mean, I don't know if... if the Rust Belt progressives are like that, that's fine, and we have no problems. We have no problems. But I don't see how a progressive could be a libertarian, because, but yes, you're right. The identity politics, the gatekeeping, and the hallmarks are the authoritarian left. Now, a libertarian can be very left in social aspects of it, but as far as the more government part, I don't know. But I don't know how that's where it gets murky. That's why I just say I'm an independent. I'm an independent. And people go, how could you be an independent? Well, I made my decision, but it's not anything I totally want to get into, but I absolutely believe in leaving me the fuck alone, and I'll leave you alone. Like, I seriously, you can do whatever the fuck you want, and I don't care. That's why it's weird being like, talking about nudity in Lord of the Rings and shit. It's like, I love boobs. Give me boobs, just not in Lord of the Rings. Please. And I don't mind freaks. Just keep cuties off the fucking planet. That's all. So yeah, rules are not big on rules. I can't wait to go out to Texas. I heard it sounds like heaven. I can't believe it's like this, but you can, it's not a pain in the ass to open your business. You can just open your business. It's going to be great. Now it all depends if California, if I'm able to sell my house in San Francisco, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to do. That could be a problem. That's my video is going to be partially about that. It's like, it's kind of inspired by Ben Shapiro's video. He's like, I'm getting up and I'm leaving. I'm taking my 72 employees and I'm going to go to Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm like, yeah, I am too, except it's going to take me a year. It's going to take me a year because I had to build my own studio and my wife had to find other work while still, catering to her old clients from her old salon. So she's every 3 weeks going to San Francisco for a week and then driving herself around with no assistant and doing a bunch of hair like speakeasy style. And then my son is basically fucking by himself and going to high school because he's a freshman in high school. And then my oldest son is watching the house. So yeah, it's not like Joe Rogan or Ben Shapiro. It's kind of we're making this shit up as we go. And it was a decision. I think most people probably would have stayed, right? I wasn't having it. I didn't want to be in that town for another fucking second. And it wasn't because of the cops themselves. It was the loss in confidence in the cops. When they shut my wife down, my decision was already made. But after the riots and I sat through a fucking curfew and then I saw people like doing shit in front of cops that they would have never done before, I'm like, oh, yeah, you don't want to be here. Because if all I can see is somebody tries to break in my house and I end the dude or something like that, or I hurt him, and then I get in trouble. The chances are very good I would get in trouble. I already told the story where I almost got arrested kicking somebody out of my own fucking store. Met Milius in a convention recently. I totally geeked out. We started talking about the work and he became so animated. I teared up. He is still there. So he's going to conventions, but I didn't know how severe his stroke was. Yeah. God damn it. That guy inspired Coppola and Lucas. Starting my 14th hour straight on my feet working, gotta pick me up knowing I can listen to this on the way home 2 hours from now. Hail overtime. Hail Chris Latito for $5. And the last super chat of the evening, Deef for 2 Canadian pesos. You should have John Malin on your show sometime. Yeah, I'll have John Malin. Come on. I've live streamed with John. I like John. I jump on other people's live streams too, although I say that, usually if somebody asks, I say yes. I cannot say yes for the next 2 weeks. There's no way. No way I can jump on. I'm going to be on BB&C tomorrow, 10 a.m. So tune in for that on Az's channel. Got some stuff. Then Wednesday, the nooner's probably going to be, it depends on how many videos I get out. If I get out a couple of videos, then it starts at noon. If I don't, then it probably starts at 3. Sorry, this one was kind of last minute. And we had a good crowd. I mean, like, we had a really consistent crowd. That is awesome. That's what I love to see. So it's nice talking to you all for 3 hours. If I missed one, it'll be part of the Super Chat Square Up that I'm currently recording. Oh, what are the announcements? Yeah, as soon as I get a time on Star Trek Discovery, go, guys, pay attention to, if you'd like, I don't mean to sound bossy, Nerdrotic.com on the right-hand side is my live stream schedule. And when the Mandalorian premieres on the 30th, I'll be reviewing every episode of that. Star Trek Discovery premieres in 4 days. And then the Expanse is going to be weekly. It premieres on December 16th. So I'll be doing that. Of course, I'm going to cover the Doctor Who Festive Special live. Friday Night Tights is on Christmas this year. Keep that in mind because we're not skipping the show. We're not skipping the show. Our guest on Friday Night Tights this Friday is John F. Trent. We've got some exciting guests coming. And he doesn't know it yet, but just some guy's going to come back too. Gary, stream with the Valkyries, says Derek McManus for £2. I'd stream with the Valkyries. Yeah. Just DM me. Let me know. Next Monday, I'm probably going to be on, it's 99% chance I'm going to be on Sporking News Podcast next Monday evening, and we're going to be talking about the winds of winter. So we're going to do that. But hail John Malin, by the way, he's good. Hail the Valkyries. Hail the Nerdrotics, who are Eric K., Mark Lerzeth, Problem Being, our newbie, who's doing a great job. Douglas Nelson, bless you, my friend. Chris Persia, the Canadian Wrench. She's not here right now, but according to Christy, this episode, of course, as always, produced by Lady Gravemaster, clipped by Perry Chan. And there's Lady Gravemaster right there. And I'll see you on Az's channel tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the real BBC. Until then, you all be good to each other.
Nerdrotic.com.
Everyone have a great day. Smoke them if you got them. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. What else can I say? Oh, I buy time to go to the South. We do this?
You know, times are changing. Ladies can do stuff now.
What? Were you saying something? Look, I don't speak Spanish.